Hello, everybody. I would like to apologize for my absence as of late. Above all, I would really like to thank Katie for being here because the initial plan was I was going to get off work at like 5 o'clock, and I was like, okay, cool, I can have a couple hours between now and the game. And then it was when I left work a little bit later than I planned on, and I realized the game had already started. So I made a bit of a error there. My apologies to you, Katie. Thank you for still joining me.
Happy to.
Yeah, and I initially was like, I don't know if I want to do this or not. And then Jordan Stahl scored his 20th, and I'm like, okay, Jordan Stahl can score 20 goals at 37. I can get up and sit in front of a computer at 35.
Yep. Now I got 7 20-goal scorers on the team.
Hell, that's a good sign. That is a very good sign. I know one thing, though. Oh, God, stop that. Oh, stay with it, Freddie. Okay, he lost sight of it.
Oh, we're going to have to sync up here at some point because whatever you were watching, I think I just watched a little while ago, or I haven't watched yet.
I'm at 7:14 stoppage of play. Or 17:14, I'm sorry.
Okay, I should be a little bit closer now.
Okay. I'll tell you what all right, they're getting ready to do the face-off right now at 17:14 remaining in the second. This line could actually be menacing if it had time to acclimate. KK Delorier and Robinson.
At least it gives you faith that if something, I mean, the playoffs are what the playoffs are. Somebody's going to get injured. It gives you faith that you have guys that can come in and your team shouldn't miss a beat.
Oh, good stick by Nikishin. He left his feet at a perfect timing.
So nice.
Oh, there's the hands.
He's had a couple of good stick plays. I think that's one of the things that's the most underrated about Nikishin that doesn't get talked about enough. Everyone likes to talk about his hits and his big shot and everything, but his stick work this season is probably my favorite aspect of his game.
It's come a long way from where it was when he joined the team in the playoffs last year, that's for sure. When he goes to swipe it now, he's not going for the super aggressive sweeping motion with the stick. It's more of an actual – he does it more like what Slavin does, so that way even if he does miss, he can recover from it real quick. Because that play he just made that they showed on the replay right there, if he tried to do that 3 or 4 months ago, he would have totally swung the stick with all of his strength. And, Griff, that's what we call having hands. It doesn't work out every single time. Actually, I'm going to ask him if he wants to come on here so we can have gimmicky banter.
It was just he's so poised. He just calm, just set the stick down, block the shot, collect it. There's no panic. There's no rush. He knows exactly what he's doing and gets the results he's looking for.
Yeah, because you can't give him everything when you go to make that type of play, and he kept a really good gap there. I know one thing. I'm working at a warehouse. I'm never going to be overweight again. I might never make a ton of money, but I'm half tempted just to stick with doing it for the rest of my life, just because I know I'll never gain any weight again. I got to start buying a whole bunch of new. Do what?
I said I believe it.
I have to start buying some new clothes soon. None of mine fit me anymore.
Well, just don't buy so many that you end up getting even more fit and have to go out and do it a third time.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy like 3 or 4 things. The good thing is I'm now fitting into a lot of my old clothes. I had to dig a bunch of them out, but like it is getting to a point where like I'm gonna have to start replacing some stuff, and I'm gonna like donate a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, so some of it's fine. Like my button ups and everything are fine. My guy bears and stuff, which my girlfriend made me start wearing those, and I'm glad that she did. She made me start like dressing like an adult when I wasn't at work.
The horrors. Dressing like an adult?
Oh no, it was really funny when I remember the first time she stayed over at the apartment that I had when we started dating. She comes out of the bedroom and she has my one singular incredibly flat pillow. And she says, "Brandon," and she holds it up. I'm like, "What? It's fine." And she's like, "No, it's not. When did you get this pillow?" I'm like, The Navy. How long ago was that? About 4 years at that point.
I can actually relate. I had a pillow that I had since high school, and it had traveled with me to college. It had traveled with me abroad. I had it when I got married, and my husband finally made me get rid of it. He nicknamed it Wretched. That's how that's how bad it was. According to him, I mean, I couldn't have cared less, but sometimes you just have to make sacrifices.
Yeah, and then like she's like, do you have any drinkware? I'm like, yeah, there's Mission Barbecue cups up there above the and she was like, is this all you have? I'm like, yeah, it's all I need. And she looked through all my silverware and she's like, how long have you had this silverware? I'm like, well, when I was on the ship, they were going to throw it out, so I just took a bunch of it. And she's like, when was that? And I'm like, 2010. I truly did live the life of a bachelor when it came to like my accommodations. And as I have 4 $320 hockey sticks sitting over there with my thousands of dollars of hockey gear and all the like high tech stuff I have for my dog.
Hey, priorities.
Oh yeah, if it was for the rink or Frank. Oh, good job, Walker. Way to stand him up.
Nice.
Man,
I think Walker doesn't get enough credit from Canes fans and different other media for his physicality in his games.
He's agitating too, like all the stuff he gets into behind the play once the cameras panned over. You don't really get respect. You can't really respect it unless you're actually at the game and see the stuff that he does just to kind of get in their heads after the fact.
He's so pesky.
Yeah, he's a very irritating player.
Oh.
So now that I'm catching up here, let's see, who all are they sitting tonight? It was Stankoven's out.
The entire Stankoven line. They're sitting Carrier and Jankowski.
Yeah, and they were both in the booth.
Miller and Chatfield.
Okay, so just for the record, I think Jankowski is really good at broadcasting. I think he has a future in it. As a matter of fact, I think he should start as soon as possible, like tomorrow, full time.
Yeah. Hell.
I don't know if I'm going to do gimmicks anymore because there's people who genuinely think I hate Mark Jankowski and Brady Shea. I'm like, I don't hate either one of them. I actually really like both those guys. When I actually don't like a player, trust me, i.e. Scott Morrow. If I really don't like a player, I make it very evident.
Do you think he'll be back next year, Jankowski?
Yes.
Okay.
I genuinely believe that. And I have a feeling that he's going to take a discount for the sake of some term because he's never really had that.
Right.
And when it comes to replacing Jordan Stahl, which is something you can't really do anyway because they don't make centers like him anymore, that's kind of the closest thing you have on the team right now. So then you don't have to go looking. That being said, you probably saw where Aaron and I talked about it. If Skylar Brendamore is the fourth line center, especially, he'd make a little bit less money. He's got some more physical edge to him and everything like that. Based on what I've seen in this game so far and what very little bit I saw of the last one, I am not opposed to that idea. He's a little, it would save some money and he does fine in that role.
Yeah. Well, that was exactly what I was about to bring up, whether or not you thought they'd go for Brendamore instead of Jankowski.
And I think a little bit of it has to do with if they win the cup this year, because if they win this year, what's not to say that Jordo's like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like I don't see him doing that though. Even if they win the cup, I see him finishing it out.
I think he'll want to go on a victory tour.
Yeah, I do too, especially considering like when it comes to like who was the biggest trooper during the Dark Ages, that was him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like he went through, because he missed all of it except for 2 years of it, I think it was, or 3 years or something like that, because they brought him and Simon in both in the I want to say they brought Jordo in 2011 was when they traded Sutter and Dumoulin and whoever else it was to get him.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's before my time, so I'm just going to have to trust you on that.
It was something along those lines, because I remember they brought Simon in that year too, and I was like, that's a bad idea. And he had that one good season, and then they extended him. Like, that's not going to work. I'm telling you, it's not going to last. Like the fact that like all the Caps fans I knew, because I already lived in Virginia at that point, were like, oh, thank God he's gone. I'm like, That's not a good sign for Carolina then if he signed within the same division, because that was back in the Southeast Division days. He signed in the same division and nobody was like really worried about it. Or that might have been after the realignment. It was close to around that time. Either way, Carolina and Washington pretty much always been in the same division. So ever since it's been Eastern and Western Conference anyway. Back in the Campbell and Wales days, it was a little bit different. Because I don't think the Whalers and the Capitals were in the same division, because the Whalers were in the Adams division, so no. But yeah, I think Jankowski is coming back. What I really think that here's one thing I am kind of interested to see how it goes down. And I this is not a slight on Chatfield when I say this, but his job's going to be up for grabs at training camp between him, Nystrom, and Legault. Like, it's not a 100% guarantee he's going to make the team over those guys.
Yeah, I mean, fair game, right? If the others outplay him and they're younger and have term, and in the case of Legault, size.
Yeah, and with a cap hit like Chatfield's, he will get claimed. Right-handed shutdown guy on a good contract, someone will pick him up. See, I was like, when Martin got put on waivers a few years ago, I was surprised nobody got him. I thought for sure someone was going to claim him. And I was really worried about that. Oh, hi, kitty.
Yeah, this is Sweet Pea.
Hi, Sweet Pea. You fit that bill.
Yeah. We have 4 cats.
Aw.
And she is our one girl, and she rules all of the rest of them.
Aw. Yep, no kitties for us at the moment. The closest thing we have is a Chihuahua, but eventually we are going to get a cat. We just don't know. I think my girlfriend loves orange cats, so I think that's what we're going to get when we can live somewhere where we can have 3 animals. Because right now we can only have 2. Even though I don't think that's...
Orange tabbies are great.
Yeah.
Such good cats.
Good physicality there by Delorier.
Nice. I really am growing to like D'Lo more and more.
You know, I can see him getting brought back just to be the 13th forward. Mm-hmm. I could see that happening. Like, you need a guy like that just in the event that, like, okay, it's like when Carolina blew Florida out 9-1. In another universe, I would have wanted Delorier in that game.
Yes.
If it were the same scenario playing out, I would want him in there, because you already know they're going to play like that. You need to have a countermeasure to it. So,
yeah.
But I mean,
and he'd be the type that he'd get regular. I think Brendan Moore would make a point of trying to get him in every 4 or 5 games.
And we've been let me see. We've been incredibly lucky with William Carrier's health.
Yes.
But I hope it stays that way. But if he were to return to his normal pattern of missing 30+ games a season, Delorier is a great guy to have in that spot. Is he as fast? No. Is he as good of a player? No. But he can fill that spot and be fine.
Yes. I love his goofy side too that he's brought. You know that if we can see it on the broadcast, then it is just resonating in the locker room even more.
Yeah, if we see it out here, then they're definitely seeing it in there. And like, there were people messaging me like after Carolina traded for him, and they're like, "Yo, why does this guy look like you?" I'm like, he looks like me if I was 6'4" and like as jacked as he is. I've been pretty jacked before in my life, but nothing like that guy. That guy is scary. It's like they should
look a little average.
Yeah, and Jordo's a monster as it is.
Yeah. He's a Viking in his own right.
Yeah. Oh, good save.
Oh, wow. Nice save. It is interesting that Brendan Moore went with Freddie in back-to-back games.
He's getting a look to see how he's going to do on an every other day schedule, I think. But like right now, what Bussy did to help Carolina be where it is cannot be ignored. But at this particular moment, well, one, you already know Rod's going to favor experience anyway, which is fine. But 2, it's also like right now, who's consistently playing better? That's Freddie at the moment.
Yeah. It's interesting, on the Storm Tracker episode we released just a couple days ago, Tom asked me which goalie I thought it was going to be, and I had to give. At the time, I went to the edge with Bussy, But if there's any doubt at all in Brendan Moore's head as to who is the better choice, he's going to go with Freddie because of Freddie's experience.
Yeah, that's what I always thought. It's like, plus, it's like, yeah, was a good enough sample size of Bussy to sign him, and they got him on a good contract, even if he does regress as some people. See, the thing is, it's like he went on that insanity run, and people were like expecting it to last forever. I'm like, dude, no goalie does this forever. It's just not. It's not feasible. Patrick Waugh and Marty Turco didn't do stuff like this. You can't expect that out of Bussy. It's like you got a really solid goalie for less than $2 million on your depth chart on a team that has been historically thin at that position. And the one time that they weren't historically thin at that position, Frederick Anderson had to re-enter the draft because he had no path up.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a long time ago, though, when Carolina was the first team that drafted him, and then he re-entered the draft because they had Boucher and Ward and I think Peters. Like, I don't even remember everybody they had, but he had no path up. And goalies are about the only ones that can really do that, like re-enter the draft and end up like basically in the same position that they were before.
And of course, we've got the other dynamic, which I'm excited about. I don't really expect a whole lot to come of it, but it is very encouraging to see that Kochetkov is back on the ice.
It is, and that does nothing but help because it gives you another option. Instead of having two, you have three. So, and I think just based on, again, experience, if Kochetkov is healthy enough to play, he'll be number two, and Bussy will be in the locker room with his gear on like Kochetkov was a few years ago, being the third guy ready to go in the event something happens. It's a much better situation. It's like, I know I've been kind of negative and nihilistic about the team this year, but then they have games like they had the other night where they're missing 7 of their regular players and still put up 7 goals. And I'm like, I know it's the Blackhawks and all, but like the Chicago Wolves were out there beating the Chicago Blackhawks. Like that's a good sign organizationally.
Yes, very good. It just seems seamless. They really are doing a good job down in Chicago and training their guys and how to play Kane style hockey so that when they get up, it's still the difference between NHL hockey and AHL hockey, but the style is exactly the same.
Spirios has done a great job with that team.
So good. It's been so good.
And it's like, I hope people have gotten to see the differences between Josiah and Jacob Slavin. Josiah's a little more of a in-your-face physical type of player than his brother is. His brother's very finesse. Josiah's got a little bit of an edge to his game, and I like it.
Oh.
Like he's not like dirty or anything, but he's a very aggressive forechecker, and he'll lay the body and do all that type of stuff.
Much edgier.
Yeah, he's got a little bit more of an edge to his game, which is really cool.
Especially when you're that kind of winger, that has to be part of your game if you're going to have success.
Yeah, and see, like, I like a lot what I've seen out of Nadeau, but I still think he needs to put some muscle on to be ready to go because he's not going to have that quick step to get away from stuff as easily as he does in the American League up in the show. So
exactly, but the fact that he has developed his defensive game so much is fantastic.
His defensive game looks good.
The penalty kill. I mean, he had a couple penalty kills against the Blackhawks that was very nice, very reminiscent of when Aho and Jarvis are on the PK.
And that's the biggest reason I think that you should be happy that Jordo's probably going to play next year, because he would be a good guy to stick with Martinook and Stahl and let him refine that part of his game and then move him up the lineup later. Because if Nadeau's not going to be a top 6 guy in Carolina, there's no point in keeping. You might as well trade him. That's not to say that you can't have him play a few months or maybe an entire season with Stahl and Martinook just to acclimate to things and then turn him loose from there. I do want to see how he would do with Aho, though, especially if Svechnikov is still on that line, just because that's just a little bit too small of a line for me if you have him, Jarvis, and Nadeau on the same one.
Yep, I agree. And, of course, it would further our personal agenda of putting Svech on the right.
Yes. Svechnikov right-wing extremism.
Yep. I will continue to pound that day in and day out. I want him on the right so bad.
I mean, hell, just look at his heat map. So, I mean, you've showed him before, like many a time, like his heat map, it's bright, deep, bright red on the right side of the ice for his chances generated and chances finished. Like, it's insane, the dichotomy of it. And he doesn't start there most of the time.
Oh,
It's just right there in the high slot, the low slot, and then everything to the right is all red.
Okay, well, here's another chance on the power play. They're 1 for 1. Let's see if they can replicate it. Have you seen the replay yet of Svech's goal?
He scored right when I turned the TV on.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is just so nice. And of course, Ehlers having the primary assist on both goals. He is just, it's like he went through his incubation period of being a Cane, and now all of a sudden he is emerged full-fledged. No, I'm just knowing exactly what to do, where to be, how to play the puck. It's been fantastic. And he couldn't be heating up at a better time right now with the playoffs on the horizon.
No, not at all. Like, you absolutely need him, like, going forward and everything like that. And I'm glad that everything worked out with getting him here, because, like, if you don't get Ehlers, the loss of Nate just would sting a lot more.
Yep.
But you got a comparable player or comparable skill set. He's not nearly as skilled of a player, but he's got a comparable skill set, but he's got the defensive side of the game that Brendan Moore wants to go with it. So it all worked out. But I mean, I called Ehlers becoming a Hurricane 2 or 3 years ago. I was like, this guy's, if he doesn't stay in Winnipeg, he's got to come to Carolina. He's such a perfect player for the system here.
I can't tell you how much I have loved not only how well Ehlers has done, but the fact that him not being on the Jets combined with other factors has made the Jets less competition for the Avs.
Yeah.
I've been doubly blessed with this particular free agent signing. Oh,
I really like that entry, that cross ice pass, and that drop pass. That was a good play. See, the team's doing a lot more of that tic-tac-toe stuff and generating good chances this year. I know they're not as defending well right now, but I have a feeling that's going to not be a problem, at least through the first 2 rounds. I really think they'll be fine. I'm still not the biggest fan of the Slavin and Chatfield pairing. If it was 3 years from now and that was the bottom pair, I wouldn't care. But that pair's got a ton of responsibility. That's the only thing that, like, kind of worries me about it. Hey, buddy, what are you looking at? You're a good boy.
Yeah, I think unfortunately the problem is it's the best configuration with the guys that they have, because
it is.
There's something about Ghost and Nikishin that just works.
It's like
Miller and Chatfield have really struggled as a pairing. So.
And, you know, that's sad because I expected that pair to be great when they first tried it. I was like, there's no way that this pair is not going to be the second coming of Shea and Pesci, and I couldn't have been more wrong. I think that the best thing for the Slavin and Chatfield pair, and I'm pretty sure that this is the way that they're trending, Chatfield's already kind of an aggressive gap control guy anyway. He just needs to turn it up to 11 because he's got Slavin there. And that's that many more plays that he can just kill in the neutral zone on his own and generate chances that way. And then Slavin just continues to play the exact same game that he's always played. It's just if Chatfield would be a little bit more aggressive getting up ice and giving Slavin that bumper for the outlet passes and the zone exits and everything, that pair will be fine. It's not going to produce a ton. You've got the 2 lowest scoring defensemen on the team on the same pair. You shouldn't expect it to. That being said, that's probably a time where you need to, when you can, match up with the Aho line. That's more often you need to have your other 2 pairs out there, specifically Ghost and Nikishin.
Yeah.
But the way that those 2 interchange off of each other, especially on the blue line, it's like, it reminds me of how Ghost and Walker played together last season. I think that's just the effect of playing with someone like Gostisbehere, though, as dynamic as he is with moving the puck, whether he's going north, south, east, and west. As long as you can read where he's going, then you're fine.
Going back to the winger conversation a little bit, though, you talked about how it would be interesting to see Nadeau up on the Canes, but do you think there'll even be a spot for him next season?
See, I don't know. Like, I'm of the mindset that the changes this offseason, depending on how things go, could be about as big as they were 2 seasons ago. Because you've got Chatfield's job is going to be up for grabs because you already, you know, it's like you've got 3 guys who could potentially take that spot. They need another top 6 forward. It's no secret. They know it. They're not going to go and, go to the media and say, no, our top 6 sucks. It doesn't suck, but like, as far as it being Stanley Cup winning good, it's questionable at best if it's that. So they're going to go get another forward. And if it's on par with how the organization does things, they tend to make 3 to 4 moves in an off season of some sort. Big moves, that is, like ones that directly affect the NHL roster. When you had, so like, for example, last season, you had Burns out, Miller in, Ehlers in, and I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. Trying to think of all this off the top of my head. But they tend to average about 3 big moves per off season. That's part of the reason they're never active at the deadline. They tend to just do their stuff in the off season.
Yeah, let people get acclimated.
Yeah, let people get acclimated, which is better, and then you can make a depth move. Now, you have the occasional thing like Gensel. Like, that was, like if they had to do that. Good puck recovery by Nikishin after that went through the crease there. Ooh, boy, that was a doozy. See, that's the thing with Nadeau. He doesn't have the reach, and he doesn't have the, he can't skate through that guy. He'd have to skate around him, and that gets a lot harder to do at the NHL level. Nate Schmidt just gapped up on him like it was nothing. When Nadeau improves his off-puck routes so that he can shoot more at the NHL level, that's when he's going to really be valuable. But I think that they need to really look into getting get another forward. Like, that has to happen, whether it's a center or a winger. If they think they want to ride with Stankoven there, that has the potential to be fine, but they have to get another winger to go on that line.
But then it just makes the log jam in front of Nadeau even bigger unless somebody's traded, and
that's the problem. That's
favorite conversation online, but who do you see them willingly parting with? I mean, it's fun for us to put together all the hypothetical trades, but they don't sign players like Stankoven and Blake to long-term contracts with the intent of trading them.
Yeah, no, they're not going to trade either one of them. It's just, part of it's going to be a trickle-down effect. Let's say Carolina goes and gets a center and moves Stankoven back to the wing. Then you have effectively removed room for Nadeau to come up. Let's say that they acquire a winger, Stankoven stays at the center position, and then you build another line from there. But neither one of those scenarios really offered Nadeau a way up that I can think of off the top of my head. But I also don't want to risk overcooking him. So
no,
it's also like, if you do that, you run the risk of you kind of run into the scenario where, okay, Blake's not going anywhere, Stankoven's not going anywhere, and then at that point, Nadeau kind of is the guy you look at to trade and add another actual legitimate top 6, preferably one with size, a power forward type of top 6 forward to the team. And I already know who I want, and unfortunately, we're going to have to kill them in the playoffs to make them think about trading him. So I'm totally fine. No, I want Brady Tkachuk.
Oh, gotcha.
I want Carolina.
Did he get hurt today? Did he get hurt today, or did he come back?
I don't know. I know he fought last night, which is part of the reason why I'm like, yeah, another reason I want this guy. And, his brother is ultimately a better player, but I think Brady's skating is better, so he would probably fit in the system a little bit better, because Matthew Tkachuk is one of the best players in the league, but he is a train wreck of a skater. Like, oh my God, his skating is awful compared to other NHL players. It is bad. It's like Kotkaniemi bad. I love KK, but I'm never going to I will never say in good conscience on any day other than April 1st that Kotkaniemi is a good skater, because he's not. He's just not. I love that guy, but God, he's not a good skater. But there's been plenty of effective players that weren't good skaters. I mean, dude, Pat Maroon was the slowest forward in the league for years, and he's got 3 cups, I think. Yeah, he's got 3 cups.
Oh, it'll be interesting to see how they work it. My personal opinion is they're fine on wingers. If they're going to add a top 6 forward, it's going to be a center.
That would be best case scenario.
And of course, there's all the drama. It looks like the Red Wings are going to miss the playoffs. So
I know who I want from there.
I know who I want from there too. Does that change the math? It didn't happen this year, but how many years after, it's year after year of they almost made it, they almost made it, they almost made it, and keep falling short. I mean, now that Buffalo's guaranteed to get in, they're the longest playoff drought team.
Well, let's just say theoretically, and we also have to take into account Larkin has a no trade clause and he's from there. So
sure.
Let's just say theoretically they wanted to make a move. They could use him not to make a rebuilding move because they don't need that. They need a move the needle now type of move. Larkin could be a guy that fetches them enough of a return of guys who are ready now to make the difference for them. So that's where Carolina could potentially look at offering up a significant package, including a player that will not be here next season anyway, to get that done. Because the best case scenario with KK is you trade him and you get something really good. Second best case scenario is you trade him and at least recoup some draft assets, get a mid-round pick for him that you will then in turn draft the entire 7th round with, because that's what Carolina does. Or worst case, or the third best case scenario is when they go to buy him out, someone picks him up on waivers, the cap hits off, it's not your problem anymore anyway at that point. Yeah, you didn't get nothing back, but cap space is a weapon. I would much prefer
if he is included in a trade, I think it's going to be sweetened by all the other pieces to convince that team to take him in, because they're getting enough else of value that they can take him on as well. But
yeah,
we'll see what happens with Detroit. They're just they look so promising, and then they just absolutely fall apart.
I'm surprised Yzerman still has a job.
Me too. I really am.
I mean, I think that's the reluctance of letting go of franchise legends, though. I mean, we've experienced that with a GM before.
Yep, so, not everybody can be Joe Sakic.
No, Joe Sakic was a great player, and he's a great GM as well. He knows how to liquidate his future assets properly, i.e. why Colorado won the Cup in the last few years.
And then, of course, always have to keep an eye on Toronto and see if anything dramatic happens there.
See, the other thing I'd worry about with that, though, it's like, here's the thing when it comes to if I have a choice between trading for Larkin or trading for Matthews. We all know who the better player is between the two, not arguing that. But for the needs that Carolina has, you can give up less and get a player who fits the system practically on day one with Larkin, or you can trade more and hopefully you get 60 goal scorer Austin Matthews back. I'd rather go the safe route there because either one of them does the job. I'd rather get Larkin personally between the two.
I think I would go the opposite direction. I would rather get Matthews because I just see Ehlers and Matthews together being some kind of special magic.
That's true too.
The other proper winger on the other side. I don't care whichever one of the short boys, put them over there and let them go hunt and dig pucks. And
that would be insane though. Blake, being able to slow the play down, entering the zone, Ehlers generating the entries with speed, and Austin Matthews just basically has to exist there and he will score a ton of goals.
Find those soft spots. He doesn't have to be the one to drive the play. The other two will take care of that. He's good. I mean, he's still super solid defensively.
Mm-hmm. No, those are all good points.
I mean, the question is just, whoever the future GM of the Maple Leafs is that person seeing Matthews as a foundational piece or a piece that will help them move forward faster in their retool or whatever path they are trying to take? Because I'm sure at some point Matthews would like to be back in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's the mindset of that GM is going to have to be, how long is it going to take to make this team competitive? If it's going to take 4 or more years, then Matthews has to go. Yep. And the Leafs have been on borrowed time for a long, long time.
And they have to shorten it up even more, don't they? How many more years does Matthews have on his contract?
He signed a shorter deal. Hold on. He typically doesn't sign long deals. He's never signed an 8-year. I think he's only done 4 and 5 every time that he's.
Yeah, I want to say this might be year 2 of a 4-year deal, which would give him only a couple more seasons.
Oh, and Edmonton's going to be in a rough spot here soon too. If they don't,
Shucks.
yeah, year 2 of 4, 13.25 cap hit. Yeah, okay. So at that point, yeah, it would have to be 2. If you don't think you can turn that team around in 2, then he has to go, or you have to extend it and make a bunch of promises to him that you're not going to get.
And the longer you wait to do that, the less you're getting back in return because there's less term left on that contract.
That's not a bad one. And then let's see. So that's 13.25, and I'm pretty sure Larkin's contract is relatively similar to Aho's.
And I want to say it's around 8.
It's very close, 8.7, and he's in year 3 of 8. So that's another way that you could look at it to see if maybe you want to go the Larkin route, because that would basically take him to the end of near the end of his career. He'd be 34 in 2031 at his UFA date.
Yeah.
And the other thing I like about Larkin, he's got that bite in his game too.
He does. But we've got some other sandpaper guys. I mean, again, I still think if I was given the choice, even if it was a richer ask, I still think it would be incredible to be able to add Matthews. And we know Matthews, coming from Arizona, would probably be fine with
the climate and
the smaller market feel, and not having as much pressure.
That might benefit him, actually, being in a smaller market where he's not getting like death threats and stuff. Because like the stuff that people were doing to Marner, I was like, that's uncalled for, dude. That is. And then people were like, oh, he's making it up. I'm like, this is Toronto we're talking about. People throw $500 worth of merchandise on the ice if they're down by 1. Don't give me that. I 100% believe everything he said about that, regardless of whatever someone's opinions on Mitch Marner may be. I absolutely believe those things happened. That's part of the reason I'm thinking about not doing the gimmicks anymore, because, like I said, I don't want these players thinking that I actually hate them. I don't hate any of these guys. I like all of them. Because I know what it's like to live through a team that was not good, that had Ryan Murphy as its top left-handed defenseman at one point. So I went through days of actually not liking the group. Remember that, sitting in my apartment in Virginia Beach going, why do I put myself through this?
Interesting. Detroit and Jersey are tied 2-2 right now. And I think if Detroit wins, they'll actually jump over Boston into that second wild card. No, never mind. I'm looking at regulation wins. I'm not looking at points. What am I thinking? No, they're 5 points out. I think the Red Wings are pretty much cooked. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about.
They're cooked. They're
cooked.
Yeah.
They'd have to win out and pretty much have Boston lose everything to.
Boston would have to lose both their games in regulation, and Detroit would have to win all 3 of theirs.
Yep. Never mind.
It's like a friend of mine in the locker room the other night. He was like, all right, I just need the Caps to win 6 in a row and they'll make the playoffs. I'm like, dude, no, that's not happening. And he's like, and then after we got off the ice, he looked at his phone and he's like, look, they won. And I was like, you got to win 5 more. That's not happening with that roster, dude.
No.
And he said some explicatives to me that I won't repeat on here because I've actually gotten pretty good about not using the language so much. I'm trying to keep it that way. I've gotten really good about it on X because like at least then I'm typing. So I'm like, no, I don't need to use this word. And then I'll back up on it a little bit. And then I'm trying to be better about that here and everything. Cause people were like telling me, hey, I would love for the kids to watch the channel, but you're a little much. And I was like, yeah, you're not the first people to tell me that. So I totally believe you.
There are definitely some podcasts that I listen to that when I'm downstairs cooking and I know that my kids could be around or over here, it's like, nope, not listening to that one right now.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing because I can do memberships on YouTube now. I've been able to do them for a while, but I couldn't think of like what I could do that would be worthwhile. And I was thinking about having like an after hours type of show where people could, come on and we could actually like really turn loose. And then that would like kind of safeguard the language and keep it compartmentalized in something that basically like you have to pay for it. So it's going to be predominantly adults listening to it at that point.
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't realize we had so many comments. Sorry guys, I'm not meaning to ignore you. I didn't expect this many people to just show up on a whim though.
Oh, good. I don't have the comments up where I can see them.
All right. Grayson, what's up, buddy? 2-0 lead, holding strong. Yep, and that's still relevant now. Hey, Mike. So Mike's followed me back now. John Forsland followed me back over the summer, so I got one more I got to get, or two more I got to get. Tripp and Chuck Caton.
There you go.
That's my next two that I want to get. Bobby Marshall, what's up, buddy? Stahl joining the 20 goal club. Stahl rejoining the 20 goal club after
there you go.
After what, a 13-year hiatus? How long's it been now?
Like 10, I think.
Or yeah, something like that.
That chatty right behind Mike's shoulder.
No, that was Key. No, that's him and Key both were. Yeah, Key just walked up the stairs, and there's Chatfield right there. That's
awesome.
That is awesome. And it's been cool then having the guys in the booth and everything. It was really funny when Jack Drury was up there for a little bit.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And he about said something he didn't want to say on air. I heard him bite his tongue. He get it in the, and then he just stops. And I was like, no, buddy, we knew what you wanted to say. It's all good. But he stopped himself mid word.
He's been so good on the Avs this year. It's been so
nice. Never going to get to play that much on Carolina with it. He was kind of redundant there, but there's no Jordan Stahl to hold him up in Colorado. So I'm glad that he got to, play with that type of opportunity.
Mm-hmm. And he's just a favorite of Coach Bednar.
I knew Bednar was going to love him. I knew Bednar was going to love him. Credit to Svetch as well for a new career high in goals and points. I never gave up on him when a lot of other people did. I know that there were times where, like, okay, when he did the thing in Florida, that was the closest I ever got to sending him to China. Yeah. But I was like, okay, not yet, but that was bad. Because I remember I was sitting at the bar at the rink that I work at part-time. And I'm sitting there watching this game. I'm like, oh, this is going really well. Surely Svechnikov will put this puck in the empty net or at least get it deep, and then this game is over. What are you doing? And then from there it went. I was like, yeah, the moment that he messed that up, I was like, oh my God, this dude's going to pull a Patrick Stefan. Oh God.
It's great to see too, because it seems like every season Svetch finds another level in the playoffs. So if he's already playing this well, I am very hopeful that he's just going to be a dominant beast once the postseason begins.
Playoff and penalty taking Svechnikov is the best Svechnikov. If he has to take penalties to play like this, take one every night. I don't care. Just him taking one penalty and having one goal a night, the goal that he scored, or 1 point a night, the point that he gets is typically far more valuable than the penalty he takes, because even with, it's like, okay, 1 point is 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
A penalty is a 75% chance at minimum that they will not score for those next 2 minutes. I'll take the point.
Yep, for sure.
Grayson says, yep, Stahl, even age 37, can still score 20 goals. Incredible. I agree. Like, he's turned back the clock. And the thing is, he's never played bad in Carolina. He's never been bad at all. It's just sometimes he takes is this a super chat? Thanks, bud. Let me put this up here. Everybody, this is actually my first super chat, so I'm going to print out, or not print out. That's not my job. That's the people in Washington who do that. I'm going to get a $5 bill, and you know how, like, in businesses, they put their first dollar up on the wall. I'm going to do that with this, or I could do that with my.
It says $4.99. You need to get 4 singles and 99 cents and put it up on your wall.
Okay, so that's 3 quarters, a dime, 2 dimes, and 4 pennies. Did I do that right on the fly? Yeah, I did. Oh, all right. School does work. Russian Honey Badger 38 with a super chat of $4.99. Thank you very much, sir. Like, that actually is a very welcome surprise today. I was looking for my NHL team and got attached to this group. Now I really love this team. Let's go, Canes. My friend, I am happy you are here. I am very happy you are here. Thank you so much. Let's see. What else we got here? Stall Bunyan, says Bobby Marshall. Some guy that I have never tailgated with, sat with at a game, or caught a ride to a game with, that I have never done podcasting with, and I have no idea who he is at all, says KK to what appears to be not a Finnish, American, or Canadian flag. It's from some other country that I don't know what country it is, and I have never referenced it at all. He says KK to nation that produces virus of unknown origin. What was that?
I'm not sure what moment he was referring to, but
he just says that to me randomly. I wake up at 2 a.m. and he's like, I got a text from him. Hey, guess what? KK sucks. Like,
oh,
no, he doesn't actually do that to me. It's just he's not a KK guy, and I very much am. But like I said, I can be a KK guy and also admit that he can't skate worth a damn.
Yep.
Nikishin was bringing the puck in the ozone like Ghost the other night. That's been one of the biggest benefits of him playing with Ghost. He's picked up a lot of his skill set, a lot of it.
We've already talked about Slavin rubbing off on Nikishin, and now we're talking about Ghost rubbing off on Nikishin. I mean, it just gets better and better.
Miller's picking up a lot of that stuff too.
Yep. Miller's been an interesting case study this year because when he is on, you see the vision. You see exactly what the Canes are wanting him to be.
Every 5 games or so, I'm kind of like,
woo!
Oh, when he has a bad game, it's nuclearly bad.
It's reminiscent of a certain someone who played for the Canes last year.
Like, whoever would that be? I am glad that he got his 1,000th consecutive game, though. That was really cool.
That was awesome.
During that, I was sitting there thinking about like when he played in game 82 last season, he played 1 shift and went back to the bench. And I'm sitting there watching him watch the rest of the game. I'm like, I know that this is killing him right now to be sitting there. This has got to be killing him because that guy, for whatever faults Burns has, and they are strictly because he got older, he has never sucked.
Yeah.
I knew that game was killing him because if there's a man who loves playing hockey, like he just wants to do it as long as he can, Brent Burns is that guy. And then another one that I'll throw in that category, Chad LaRose played hockey as long as he physically could. I'm surprised he didn't go to the SPHL or the Fed to play when the E wouldn't take him back. Yeah. Because he played for all 3 levels of the Hurricanes organization. He played for the Canes, the Checkers, and then the Florida Everblades. Then he went to the Orlando Solar Bears, and then he finally hung it up after that. That guy would just not stop playing. He absolutely loved playing hockey. Because
when it comes to Burns, you see the cycle of the dialogue on Avs Twitter when it comes to Burns. I'm like, this feels familiar to me.
Hey, I've seen this one. It's a classic.
Yeah. Like, is the Iron Man streak really that important? Yes. Yes, it is.
I mean, he's getting on the verge of making history, though, because who's got it right now? Yandel or?
No, he's only behind Kessel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I hate to say this.
If he plays hockey next year, he can break Kessel's record and have the all-time
He will play. He's not going to get that close and not break it. But I can already see this. He probably looks at a picture of Phil Kessel and then looks at a picture of himself. He's like, no way I'm letting that guy play more games than me. That's not happening.
Well, on the 1000th video tribute the Avs played for his 1001st game, Kessel actually was part of it.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and yeah, Kessel's
really how do I put this? Kessel's appearance is not his fault. It's because of the steroids that he had to take. From where he had testicular cancer and he had to take steroids, and that's why he gained all the weight he gained. It's not because I know they call him Hot Dog Phil, but it's not because he didn't practice good nutrition or work out, and it didn't matter because he could shoot a puck so well. If he went out there and was 310 pounds, he'd still be able to put a puck in the net. See, that was a really cool play right there. That.
I imagine as long as they have their 2-goal lead, we're going to see lots of KK and Brenda Moore's lines.
Yeah. But yeah, if Kokaniemi is on this team next year, I will eat my hat on the stream.
I love it when Nikishin's shot just breaks a guy's stick in half.
God.
Holy cow.
He's gonna eventually, like, people, like, now that they know who he is, they're starting to get scared to get in front of it. They're like, yeah, I might block this shot, but do I want to be out for the next X number of weeks because of it?
Do I want what just happened to that stick to happen to my
leg?
chin?
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing now, though, is like, I do remember at times where, like, people just stopped getting in front of Shea Weber and Chris Pronger and Al McInnes and guys like that. They're like, I might block this one shot, but then I'm out for however long. What good am I to somebody at that point? It's like, it's getting to that point where it's like people are just getting out of the way.
Yep.
Now, if it's a consequential shot, like you're talking like it's the difference between a series continuing to go on or something like that, they'll get in front of it anyway. But it's also like if you're gapped up on somebody really close, like if you're going to get hit with a shot, if you get hit with one after, when it's only been off the stick for 3 seconds after the follow through, that doesn't hurt you so much. It's when the puck has time to build up speed and hit you, that's when it hurts. Because there's been plenty of times where someone's round up and took a clap bomb like a foot in front of me and I didn't even feel it because it didn't have time to build up speed because it builds that extra velocity in flight. But one where someone shot it all the way from the blue line and I was down parallel with the goal line and got hit with it, those are the ones that hurt.
So that's Aho's second penalty. What are you doing, Aho?
Aaron's high stick. Honestly, I like penalty taking Aho more too because angry Aho is a more effective player.
Well, at least they're getting plenty of practice on the PK to tune up.
They kind of need that to
yeah, exactly.
Maybe Brendan Moore told him to go out there. He's like, hey, pick some guy you don't like and just take the lumber to him.
Yeah. Well, these teams aren't going to see each other again this season unless something goes really well for both of them. So you might as well Utah's going to want an opportunity to fine tune for the, crap. Speaking of which.
Good job, Martinook.
Couldn't clear it.
Nothing he could do about that one.
Nope. Well, dang it.
And see, a lot of times where goalies make saves in situations like that, where they get across and they're like, oh, that was amazing. He did this, this, and this right. I'm like, no, he got lucky.
Yeah.
He just flew to the other side. He went from post to post as fast as he could and hoped that he was in the right spot. That's athleticism. To some degree, it's skill, but it is not calculated at all. That is like, that's a Hail Mary of a play that a goalie can make. Oh, that's something I'm going to be doing here soon, actually. Because I got some goalie gear now. I gotta get I need a glove and a blocker and a mask, but I got all the other stuff. Dylan Gunther's such a good player, man. I've always liked him.
He is.
He's on a good contract too.
Crap to play against.
I think that's why I like him. I like players like that.
I was very, very glad when Utah took the first wild card because I did not want to have any piece of them as far as the Avs are concerned in the playoffs. And I'm sure Utah's more than happy to go against the pillow fight division.
Yeah. See, that the players need to, you know what? I'd be okay with a lockout on one condition because it would be worth the pain of it. If the union collectively said we're going back to 1v8 and the league said no and that caused a lockout, I mean, it would never happen, but I'm just saying theoretically if it did, I'd be like, do a 2-year lockout to get it back. I don't care. This is not the only form of hockey I watch. I hate the playoff format right now. I hate it so much.
It's so frustrating.
Well, it's only a matter of time until a really stacked division has a team in there that has like more, or has a team that has more points and is below the cut line just because 3 teams automatically make it from each division. It's only a matter of time until that happens. Mm-hmm. And then I think that will finally be the referendum that makes the discussion like, hey, this is not good. It's going to take that happening though. Because be damned if I had 101 points and wasn't in the playoffs, I'd be pissed.
Man, that's crazy. It's crazy that the Mammoth clinched a playoff spot before anybody in the Pacific did. No one in the Pacific has clinched a playoff spot yet. That's bananas.
This whole format's bananas. Honestly, I'm at the point where like there's enough teams in the league now, and there's going to be more. I kind of don't really want conferences anymore. At least not geographically. Like, I want them to do something like maybe just go to 4 divisions or something. Like, I just, they need to do something different. And as far as like them adopting the double IHF style points, I'm not opposed to that either at this point.
Another penalty?
Okay, Svetch, you know what you have to do when you take a penalty, right? You know what you have to do after you get out of the box.
Walker.
Or it was Walker?
Oh, okay. I thought it was Fetch. I thought they said 26. Maybe I don't have the volume turned up enough because I don't want it interfering with the.
Yeah, I don't have my volume up. Yeah, it's Svechnikov.
Yeah. Well, I thought they had originally said 26. I had the volume down low, but yeah, I know it was definitely Svetch's stick.
Okay, that was funnier than how the motion that Brenda Moore just did. The yeah, Martinook just couldn't get underneath that, but with his finger bothering him, it doesn't surprise me he can't get it lifted on the backhand. Because like people were telling me they saw him at the gala thing, and they said that like his entire left hand or left pinky finger just looks like totally maligned. And that'll really I mean, that would explain why he's not winning board battles as often. He's like that's a really difficult thing to play with, especially when you play the way he does.
He's an important guy, but at what point do you say that maybe somebody with a full 5 fingers would do a little better?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Good gap. Good gap. See there, and he does stuff like that, and he's fine. See, that's characteristic Martinook right there that just did that. But if it's his bottom hand that's really bothering him, it's hard to make plays like that. Because it looked like to me there were a lot of times he was going for the poke check or the sweep check with one hand instead of 2, and a lot of situations where he would normally use 2.
Go.
Yeah.
Dang.
Oh, here we go. Come on, Fishy.
I must be a little ahead of you again.
A little ahead of me because, Vanalka just made the save on Jarvis. Honestly, I think this team should just take penalties on purpose and just put Aho and Jarvis out there.
It's so much fun when they go out there. You feel like it's almost even strength at that point.
All that extra ice, they're really good at using it.
Mm-hmm. And
Aho
wasn't
just
the case
absolutely
with
bitched
Sergachev there, but usually whoever they have back is somebody who's not as adept at breaking up 2-on-1s or preventing.
It's usually their top line power play quarterback guy. So it's Aho and Jarvis versus Sean Dursey. My money's on Aho and Jarvis. And I like Sean Dursey, but or no, they had Uyghur out there for that one, who I also like. Good clear.
Uyghur's there now. I thought I saw it was Sergachev back on the 2-on-1. But.
Yeah, because I've got half a screen that I'm watching this with right now. So if y'all keep sending me super chats, I'll get a bigger monitor with it, because that's actually one of the first things I want to buy. Well, I'm going to keep this one right here, but what I'm going to do is I want to get like a 37-inch curved monitor for like my flight simulators and racing games and everything. And when I get that, I'm going to take the 27-inch I have now, and I'm going to get a mount for it, and I'm going to mount it above my other monitor.
Dang it.
Go, get it out.
By Jarvis. That was so good.
Aho elevate the puck on a breakaway challenge. Impossible. He's pissed about something.
I think maybe he wanted it. I didn't hear what Chip and Mike are saying, but he might have wanted a penalty shot.
He didn't have a clean enough break to get a penalty shot, and honestly, he wouldn't have scored on it any damn way.
Oh, that should have been a second penalty there. That slash on Aho's leg.
Okay, that's what he was mad about. He had every right to be mad. Okay, then they should have at least called him both.
5-on-3 for 2 minutes. First initial penalty and then the slash.
Yeah, because he came all the way up. Yeah, he should have called both of those.
Come on, boys, make him pay. Get that 2-goal lead back. I really have been loving the power play recently. This new system that they've got with Stahl starting and then Ehlers coming in.
And it opens Aho up to, where he's the most effective, had his most effective spot, because you remember all them points he got a couple of years ago on the power play. That's where he was over there on the left wing during that time, most of the time. He got his 500th point from that exact spot.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where he's most effective on the power play, and Jordo's been able to open that up to where he's not the one taking the face off. I mean, I know I was critical of that at first because I was like, all right, Aho's winning face offs again. Let's put him back there. But now it's like where that's one of the reasons I wanted Robert Thomas so bad, because that's who I would have taken the face off and put Aho on the wing.
I have gotten a close front row seat to the Robert Thomas show recently because the Avs played the Blues twice. And the Blues scored 4 goals on the Avs, and all of them were Thomas.
There's a reason I was banging that drum so loud.
Everybody else on the Blues was completely ineffective.
That's what I'm saying. He's on an island there. That's why I'm like, him coming to Carolina is not this completely unrealistic possibility. And I don't care what anybody says. Carolina's got enough assets to give up to where, realistically, they could get him without giving up Nikishin. The problem with it is Doug Armstrong heavily overvalues his own players. Man, Aho's livid tonight. Yeah, pretty apparent what he said right there.
At the end of that power play.
I don't speak Finnish, but I'm pretty sure I know what word he just said there.
My husband knows a few of those words. He did a study abroad in the Netherlands, and one of his friends in the international dorm was Finnish, and he only learned certain words. It was Santa Claus and a few other choice ones. The power plays looked okay, but it's definitely looked better. Nadeau just didn't quite have his stick in the right place. I really wish that Nadeau would have a chance to play with someone who could set him up a little bit better. What are you doing? Just letting him do that. 3 Canes back, and they just let the Utah player walk down Main Street. Tripp just said Anderson continues to be sharp, and I agree. Anderson's had a very good game. Oh, I'm not hearing you now.
Oh, sorry. I turned my mic off for a second. Carolina just needs to just go ahead and win this game, because then it becomes they'd only need 1 point, and the possibility of Buffalo winning out is not very high, because they need to rest guys too. So if Carolina wins this game, the likeliness of them locking up the East basically skyrockets, because they can take a skeleton crew for the rest of the way and get 1 point.
Yes.
Because I don't want to see as few of the regulars as possible in the lineup after this game.
Although, isn't there a limit? I thought I read somewhere that you can only call up a maximum of 4 guys.
Well, they've got them already. That's what I'm saying. It's just like as little as possible. It's like have Brenda Moore, Kokaniemi,
Delorier and
Riley, Delorier, like
Slavin number 2.
Yeah, Slavin, the Josiah one. Just have those guys in as much as possible and let them get some extra minutes. And then whoever is on the regular roster that's playing, I would like them not be out there more than like 5 minutes a night. Like
I do like the approach that Brenda Moore has taken in resting whole lines, so you're not having to Frankenstein all of your lines.
Very smart. Very smart on his part. It's like, I know I'm critical of him at times, but I don't want anybody to think that I don't think he's a great coach. So like, there's some decisions he makes, I'm kind of like, okay, bro, what? But like, predominantly, he is an amazing coach.
Yes.
It's just, there's just times where he makes decisions and I'm kind of like, dude, come on. And people are like, oh, do you think you would do a better job? I'm like, no, that's why I'm behind a microphone and he's not. I'd never in a million years do I think I would be better at that.
I also don't understand why people don't get that part of doing podcasts and putting stuff on X is because it's fun.
Yeah, and I'm not going to sit here and just
anything thinking it's necessarily going to happen. We just throw our opinions out there and have ideas and bounce things off walls and enjoy that side of being a fan.
Yeah, and and it's like a lot of the other media sources just kind of go with whatever the flow is, and I'm not that guy. I call balls and strikes. But I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, everything's fine when it's not. Like, I'm not. Nah. If the house is on fire, I'm going to tell you to get out there. No, I'm not going to sit there and be like, no, just wait for the off season. You'll get the fire extinguisher then. No, we're not doing that. Like, this team's good, but is it Stanley Cup winning good is a legitimate question, and I still don't think it is. At the same time, though, it's not an out of the question thing of them winning it. I just don't think they're going to do it.
I think they have the offense this year. The question is whether or not the defense and goaltending can match what the offense is capable of producing.
And it used to be the other problem.
Yes. It's kind of a weird swap. I mean, you know me, I would kill for an Avs-Canes matchup in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
And you said that you haven't decided your allegiance for that 7 games yet?
I think my allegiance would be to the home team or whoever's trailing in the series because I want 7 games. And then if it's hard, there's one side of me that says Canes because they haven't gotten it this decade yet. And there's another part of me that says I want Brent Burns to get a cup.
See, that's tough. If Burns wasn't a factor, I think you'd probably just side with Carolina.
I think I would lean Canes. I'd still want it to go 7 games. I'd want every single second of that series I could possibly get out of it. But that would be the one hard thing is I really want Burns to get a cup.
Yeah.
And that would necessitate the Avs winning it, obviously.
Man, there's a bunch of new stuff on StreamYard since the last time I was on here. They have widgets now. What's this?
Ooh, a new toy.
Yeah, no, they put new stuff on here all the time. I'm going to have to renew my subscription here soon. I did the 1 year and I got to renew it. I just turned it off auto renew because I didn't want it to magically come out.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because that's a lot of money. It saves me ultimately, but I've got a pretty good paying job now in addition to like what I'm doing for school and everything. But damn, today was.
You still glad you moved to South Carolina?
I am damn glad I moved to South Carolina. I am much happier here because see, like, yeah, I'm tired. I'm worked pretty heavy. I got a bunch of stuff to do, but I was just rotting in Northern Virginia. Like I was stuck in the same job, doing the same boring stuff every day. Whereas now it's like, yeah, I'm on the go. I run around all the time, but like at the end of the day, I can actually sleep.
Yep. And there's it's a certain fulfillment that comes with having a life.
Yeah, whereas up there I was just on this feedback loop. I didn't even feel like a normal person. I was just like just like a zombie up there. Well, that's part of the reason I've chilled out is because I'm much happier with where I live. Like, yeah, the traffic is kind of bad here. In a way, it's a little bit worse.
Really?
Yeah, so where I live at, the area I live at, it's a lot of one lane roads, but it's not one lane road population anymore.
Ah,
So, and people, I know a lot of these folks are from up north because they have no idea how traffic circles work down here. They just
oh,
run them the exact same way that they run them in Boston and New York. And they're like, yield sign? What yield sign? I was here first. And they just do that. And I'm kind of like, yo, aren't there more of these where y'all are from than me? And they just have no regard for it. They just go right through it. And like, I'll be halfway through the circle and somebody will be like, yield sign, whatever. Like, they don't even lift. They don't hit the brakes. They just, and there's been times where I've seen people make 3 and 4 laps through them. And then I see them go off, and then I see New Jersey on their license plate. And I was like,
that checks out.
yeah. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then like the funny thing about it is, and I mean, it's, I'll be at the rink and people like will be sitting. I actually said something to somebody about this the other day. I was playing pickup a few weeks ago, and some dude in there is like, man, the rinks up north aren't like this. The rink's this, the rink's that. They don't have any chuffs in the ice. The Zamboni door doesn't have all this stuff. I'm like, dude, go back. And he's like, what? I'm like, I've been sick and tired of you people moving down here and bitching about my way of life for as long as this country has existed. All you do is come down here and complain about the accents, the bugs, the heat. You think the food sucks. You don't think sweet tea should be a thing. Just go back. I'm not forcing you to be here. I didn't like where I lived. I left. It has been painful in a lot of ways, but I made it work. Well, I only came down here because it's cheaper. And I'm like, okay, I won't go into like, okay, well, why is it cheaper here?
Yeah.
Oh, like we don't want to get into that discussion, but we all know the real reasons. But it's like, if you don't like it, just go home. Like, I'm not forcing you to stay here. But it's like, you can't expect a rink in South Carolina to be as good as a rink up north primarily because of the fucking climate.
There's nothing we can do about the climate. It is what it is. It is warm here.
Yeah, especially like I live in the low country, so it's warm like 10 months out of the year. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. So that's that sequence right there is what we know as luck.
Yes. I hear you as far as that's concerned. We initially moved to Myrtle Beach, and then we're like, ugh, all these transplants and tourists and stuff. And so even though we were too, but I guess my husband's a southerner, so that halfway counts. But then we like moved into the country part, and like still not good enough. So we moved even further inland. Now we're good.
Yeah, it's just I can't get away from this stuff, and it's just like I always hear about like it's just annoying to me because like I'm basically from this region. I grew up 3 hours north of here, and it's like I know part of it's because of I spend so much time at the rink, but at the same time, it's like I barely meet anybody who's actually from the South here. I work at a warehouse, and there's like maybe 3 or 4 people that I've ran into today that were actually that I could tell were from here. And all they do is complain about it. I'm like, well, stop ruining my way of life and my culture so that you can come down here and complain about things. Like, if you don't like it, go back. If you think that New England clam chowder is better than she crab soup, get out of my state.
Yep. That's one of my favorite things I discovered when I moved here.
She crab soup, yeah.
Oh,
that's good stuff.
So good. It's so good.
Now, if any of you are curious what she crab soup is, it is soup made of female baby crab eggs, and it is one of the best things that you will ever eat. It is well worth the price per bowl.
Yes, it is. It is fantastic.
I only let myself have it about 3 times a year, and I only do it that because if I ate that all the time, I would somehow find a way to gain weight from soup. That is really good stuff. That is one of my favorite things to go get that. My girlfriend gets oysters. I get my she crab soup, and then I'll grab like like Californian Dreamin's one of our favorite places here. I'll get the burger that they have there. Like, yeah, it's just people come here and then they just complain about it all day. And I'm like, and one of the guys even said, well, why doesn't this rink get a better compressor? I'm like, oh, because better compressors are so inexpensive and cheap and easy to install.
Are you ready to pay much higher rink rates in order for
That's
that
the other thing I said. I'm like, it's already expensive to play hockey. Do you want it to get worse?
Mm-hmm.
See, that's one of the reasons that I'm gonna maybe rediscover my roots a little bit. My old pair of skates, I'm gonna get a rollerblade chassis put on them, and I
Oh,
might play some roller hockey here too. I've not played roller hockey since I was about 13, like consistently. Because once I started playing ice, I never wanted to mess with roller again.
I have been ice skating, I think, once in my life.
That's one of the few places that I feel peace is when I'm on a rink. Like people can be yelling and shouting and raising all kinds of hell about stuff, and I'm as happy as I can be.
I believe it. It just wasn't one of those things that I was exposed to growing up. I was a soccer, volleyball, basketball kind of athlete. Never ice hockey really wasn't a thing until the Avs came to town, except on some very niche areas of Colorado.
Yeah, we had one rink in Fayetteville, and it's on the base. It's still there, thankfully. It almost got removed because of the budget cuts, but the rink on Fort Bragg's where I played when I was a kid. And I didn't play travel or anything. We couldn't afford it, and I had other ambitions at the time, and I didn't really care about it. But it really was like when I was in the military and I was stressed out because I'd taken a couple of years off from playing.
Oh, D'Lo. Or no, Legault. It's Legault.
Don't punch the blade. Do not punch the skate blade. Do not punch the skate blade this time.
Whoever it was wasn't wanting to go with him.
I can see why. I don't even know who that is because we can't see his sweater.
No.
Who was that? Who did he fight?
Okay, that's gotta feel good for Legault. Hey,
where are your hands?
A scrum.
Let me see your hands. Yeah. Okay, he's good.
His cheek is a little.
I don't care about that. He can play with a cheek being cut in half. Okay, Legault is not. He's okay. No kitchen accidents on ice this time.
I'd like to see what precipitated that.
Charles Alexis Legault. That's exactly what precipitated that.
He really has to be thinking of every game he's getting into as an audition for next season.
Yeah, him and Nystrom.
It's also an audition. What happens if whatever's plaguing Chatfield is something that lingers that he can't go with?
I'm not going to be totally surprised if next season, if that season starts without Jarvis and Slavin both. I think, because Jarvis is probably going to have, I don't think he can put the shoulder thing off much longer. He put it off for the Olympics, but that's got to get fixed sooner rather than later because my dad waited too long to fix his and he finally got his done. And because he had the same problem. My dad tore his rotator cuff in the Air Force in 1988 and he never got it fixed until a few weeks ago. So I'd rather him not sit on that.
Yeah, let's get that fixed.
And then Slavin, it's like the thing with the knee, whatever that is, should probably not wait either. Especially with the defensive depth that Carolina has, and they've shown they can win without him. I know I have the unpopular opinion on this. I'd rather see Carolina play Ottawa just because I want to see something different. Seen them playing the same teams over and over again. I want to see something new.
At least it's been a while with Boston.
That's true. I still want to see something new. I want to add something to the list. I want to add to the list of teams Carolina has beaten in the playoffs and not have Islanders or Devils there with tick marks next, tally marks next to them.
it's kind of interesting, the contrast, because Ottawa has a really good defense with questionable goaltending. Whereas I think it's not that the Boston defense is bad, but I think that it's more a question of the Canes could break down the defense better against Boston. But if Swayman gets hot, that could not matter.
Yeah, and I'm not worried about Allmark getting hot.
Nope.
Then again, Carolina tends to make Vezina candidates out of random call-up third-string goalies on a Tuesday night in January. So
I still think that I still think Carolina would beat either of them, but I think it'd be more likely to be a 6 or 7 game series against Ottawa and more like 5 games against Boston.
Yeah.
It's the Bruins. So
that was a perfectly legal hit. What are you whining about?
Yep.
That hit was fine. That was a perfectly legal hit. Ehlers just told him good job and tapped him on the collarbone and went back to the bench. No, that hit was perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
It just every time you watch this, it just reinforces the idea of how much Walker was missed last postseason.
Yeah. If he was in, maybe they win game 5 against Florida. Mm-hmm. Him and Chatfield both. I mean, you saw how good he was against Washington. He basically, set up the.
I must be a little ahead of you.
Slavin.
Who?
Oh. Keep taking penalties, Aho. That's what happens when you're pissed. I love it.
Is it an Aho tip?
Oh, no. Goes to skating to the bench first. I thought Aho got a hold of it. And then on top of that, Vemelka was like raising his stick up in the air like, hey, high stick. It looked like he was trying to signal to the official that. So there goes Svetch. Yeah, that's Ghost Skull, I think.
It's hard to tell.
It is hard to tell because the glove's right there and everything.
Oh, that was tipped. It hit something. Boom. 3-1. It's good goal.
There's so much going on there. I don't know who tipped it. They are saying Aho?
On the broadcast, yeah. It'll have to be confirmed. But fantastic. Like you said, I like Aho when he's ticked off.
Pissed off Aho is an animal. Like, God, that was so funny on the Pittsburgh or on the hot mic in Pittsburgh. What the fuck are you doing? My favorite one is still Tony D'Angelo, though, when he was on the bench shouting at somebody back in the 22 playoffs against the Rangers. He skates by and he starts to go to the bench. Ray Ferraro starts to say something, and then you hear Tony, I will fucking destroy you in the middle of the sentence. I was like, oh my God, that's hilarious. Let's see here. Overhead view. This will tell us a lot. Yeah, I don't know why Vemelka was even trying to signal goaltender interference or high stick or anything like that. Arm was entirely outside of the crease. Pretty much all of him was outside of the crease. Now he's looking to go to the bench.
Yep. Oh, right. There you go. Puck possession. Keep him in the net.
Does Buffalo play today?
Yeah.
Because I might stay live and watch that one.
I'm looking. No, they do not.
Okay, so we'll have to wait until tomorrow to know.
The only games left after this one are, let's see.
Rangers and Stars are they're about done. Panthers and Maple Leaves, Jackets and Hat. I think I'm going to flip over to that one and watch it.
Yeah.
The Blue Jackets and Canadians.
Yeah.
Because that's the closest thing to a relevant game now, as far as Carolina's concerned.
Avs and Golden Knights tonight. I'm going to go watch that with my dad.
At least you get it at a reasonable hour this time. You don't have to wait until 10 o'clock to watch it.
Oh. So
playoffs are going to be brutal for you.
Oh, gosh. I have to, if I want to watch the Avs, I have to alter my sleep schedule.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to sneak off to the teacher's lounge and catch a cat nap during the day, or siesta, or what's it called, siesta.
A siesta, yes. Well, I'm actually fortunate enough that I work in a small school that I have my own classroom, so.
Oh, that's cool.
I can do the cat nap in my own room if I need to, but no. Usually, what I do is I try to go to bed really early on those nights and record it, and then get up at like midnight and watch it fast forwarding through the commercials until I can catch up in the third period.
Mm.
Oh, too much English on that. Dang it.
Just a bit wide. Oh, and I also decided to not watch the Braves this year because the only game that I sat down and watched, they lost. And I'm just like, you know what? You guys have fun. I'll see you later.
Yeah. So far, I've always been a baseball doesn't exist until after my teams are eliminated from the playoffs kind of person.
I'm the same way.
I'll check in with the Braves hopefully once one of my teams has won the Stanley Cup.
It's always like that, like during the baseball playoffs too. Like I'll be sitting there watching the Hurricanes game on TV, and the only time I've ever watched baseball over hockey was when the Braves were in the NLCS with the Dodgers in 2021, and from there on out.
Postseason's different.
Yeah, that was the point where I was kind of like where I was telling the Canes, hey, hurry up and win in regulation. I got something else I got to watch. Yeah, and I'd be flipping between the two at the time. It's like I'd go over there, I'd watch 5 or 6 pitches of, like I'd watch 2 or 3 at bats of the Braves playing the Dodgers, and I'd flip back over to the Hurricanes game for, a few shifts, and then.
Yep. Oh, the Red Wings lost. They have officially been mathematically eliminated now from playoff contention.
Now would be a good time for Tulsky to just go ahead and write the letter, so that way it takes forever to get there, and be like, hey, that 71 guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what number he would wear here because Taylor Hall already has 71, and Larkin, like in international play, wears 21, and Nikishin's got that one. So
I'm sure he'd find something.
He can have 10. Let's just take 10 down from the rafters and let him have that one. I think 10 would look good on him. I'm standing by my opinion on that. I don't care what Francis did as a player. His conduct as a GM, just that wipes that out for me.
Obviously, that was his time as a player is before my time as a fan. So,
and plus him and Wesley are not strictly, their numbers aren't strictly retired on Hurricanes criteria. There's also, it's what they did with the Whalers was a bigger factor. Whereas Rod's number and Eric Stahl's number are retired on their criteria of what they did as Hurricanes. That's why people are like, why do the Hurricanes have so many numbers retired? Well, 2 of them should be half green. Actually, I'll tell you what, chat, how about this? For those of you who are still sticking around and watching, you tell me what game you want me to switch over to, and we'll watch that one next. I know that you probably got to go or something. Because I haven't had time to do anything lately with working so much. It's like this year when I do the playoff series forecast and everything, I'm probably going to have to just pre-record it. Dylan says Montreal. Montreal is that one team that I'm just really kind of just legitimately afraid of, honestly.
I don't know. Honestly, I think The problem is they're so young, and it's just such a different beast in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I know they've had our number in the regular season, but that really just doesn't mean anything.
See, I always imagine it as it being Carolina versus Washington, but in reverse, like 2019, because everybody said the same thing about Washington and Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I was the only person who believed in my own team up there. And it took me a couple of games. I didn't start thinking they could win that series until Svechnikov scored the second time in game 2. And I was kind of like, all right, they can hang with them. And then I told people, I'm like, the Caps have no idea what they're in for in playoff Raleigh. Playoff Raleigh is something special. And they're like, oh, but our building gets loud in the playoffs too. I'm like, shut up. You're not even close to us. No.
Ooh.
Stay there.
Come on.
If Ehlers could have cleared that puck, I would have felt a lot better, but he couldn't get a stick on it. And he was gapping up on Sergachev at the point.
Oh! Nice job, Ehlers. Oh.
Yeah, because he's just about got Sergachev on that last play to clear it out. Oh, God, please don't be a penalty. Okay, it's not.
Come on. Come on. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it.
Oh. Freddie, what the...
Like right into the skate. Oh, go. Go, Walker. Yes.
You can shoot at center mass this time and be fine. All right, here we go. I was sitting there waiting on him to rip it and hit the crossbar or something. I was like, don't you dare.
Oh, Nikishin's happy for him.
Aw, that's cool.
Nikishin has this good energy. Team.
Yeah, Walker's a workhorse. Like I said, I have one complaint about Sean Walker. He shoots the puck dead center mass every single time.
Or if he doesn't, it's like 3 feet wide. There's no in between.
No, I'm like, bro, hit the crossbar once in a while or something. No, don't do that. We have enough of that. No, never mind. I take that back.
I'm just so impressed by what a complete solid effort this team puts forward, and they're missing 7 of their regulars. I mean,
what time does Buffalo play tomorrow? Because I'm going to try to watch that one. Plus, there's a Sabres fan on my beer league team, and I've already been starting to do my stuff there.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm going to say thank you for having me on, but if I'm going to make it to my dad's in time for puck drop, I've got to go ahead and go.
Yes, and I appreciate you coming on here on short notice after I accidentally bamboozled you and everything like that. But
one quick thing, Saturday night.
One quick thing I will say before she goes. I was like, I got home from work. I was really tired. I was thinking about not doing it because I thought the game was at 7 instead of 5. Jordo scored 20, and I was like, you know what? I can get up and do this. If he can do that, I can do this. Okay, Buffalo plays on Monday. That's right. I was looking for that game. All right, but Katie, thank you very much for being here.
Yep. You have a great weekend. Enjoy your time off.
I sure will. Well, all 24 hours of it.
Bye.
All righty. So here's what we are going to do, everybody. I need to walk my dog, and I need to retrieve more waters and stuff so that I can hydrate. I will then flip over to... I'll probably do the Montreal game because I feel like that's kind of it's not mathematically relevant to the Canes, but that is a team that, like I said, I'm a little bit worried about in the playoffs. And I just want to watch them some more and kind of dissect their game and everything like that. Plus, I need to turn the lights and stuff on in here. I will get logged in and all that. I will be back in about 15 to 20 minutes. And we will get going by the time the second intermission, or excuse me, the second period of Montreal and Columbus starts. Thank you very much for all of you joining us thus far. This has been really fun already, and we're going to go ahead and do some more tonight because I don't really have anything else I have to do tonight. Tomorrow I'm going to be busy all day, but let's just go ahead and have us some fun and hang out here for a little while because I know I haven't been able to do a whole bunch of stuff lately because I've been busy with work and school and everything like that and all that. So we're going to keep going. I will see y'all in about 20 minutes. In the event that you depart, thank you very much for joining. Been a lot of fun. I will see you again soon. But we will take our break and be right back to it here shortly. All right, I am back now. Waiting on this ad to end. I have no idea where it is. I hate a lot of the stuff that these streaming services do now. If there's anything that ever turns me off to watching sports, it's going to be all the garbage that the streaming services do and the gambling being everywhere and all that. But oh wait, actually, you know what? You know what we're going to watch? Or what I'm going to watch at least? Oh wait, no, can't watch that one anyway. Never mind. I was going to pull the Wisconsin versus Denver game up, but I don't have a cable login, so. All right, let's get back to some of the comments here. Caulfield wearing a Braves jersey. That's pretty cool. Drake Baldwin is a damn good baseball player. He is awesome. I might go back and clip that later and show it. Alrighty. Keeping a close eye on Montreal for obvious reasons, as I have stated in the past. I've gotten to where I don't do this as much as I used to. Maybe I'll be able to quit soon. Oh, God, plays like that Montreal is capable of making scare me. I know it's 4-on-4 and there's more of an ice, but all that speed is hard to play with. Jeez. Deceptive. I really want to take a good look at like who's out there right now. Jake Evans and Slupkowski playing 4-on-4. That's going to be interesting. Matheson's one of the guys on here. Oh, geez. Dylan, as it stands right now, let me double check the standings here. Because I've not been able to keep up with this stuff lately. I've just been so busy with life. And tomorrow I'm going to be doing schoolwork all day. I'm going to let myself play a little Halo tonight, but that's about it. As it stands right now, Montreal and Tampa would be playing in the first round. So even if Montreal were to win that series, it's a good barometer to see how Montreal would do against a team like Carolina potentially down the line. And it's also a good barometer to kind of see how good of a playoff team Tampa still is compared to when they were winning a bunch, when they were winning back-to-back cups. Scott Thomas says, Brandon, I saw you at Brews before the Canadiens game, but I didn't want to disturb you. I wanted to say what's up. Oh, dude, you can totally come up and talk to me anytime you want to and everything. Just because it's happened a couple of times at games and everything like that. But no, you're absolutely welcome to come up and say hi to me. I'd be totally cool with that. But yeah, don't ever feel like you can't come up to me and say hi to me and talk to me. I'm totally cool with that. That's one of the things that I love the most. Probably the thing I do love the most about this, other than, just analyzing the game that I love, and the team that I love, despite them doing their absolute best to break me mentally at times. But yeah, you absolutely feel free to come up to me anytime you want. And if you you're on X as well, I believe, so just message me on there and let me know, and I'll meet up with you at a game. I do that all the time, where I meet up with people and everything like that. But no, it was that was a damn good burger I had there at Brews. That burger was that was a hell of a burger, and that's such a cool little environment too. And for you guys out there who are still single, there were some damn good looking women in that place. There were some very beautiful girls there. But yeah, like, I didn't realize you could actually walk to Lenovo from that place, and I didn't know about that tunnel underneath, like, where it goes up there, because like I said, I've never lived in Raleigh. I didn't grow up there or anything like that. So, but that's one thing I definitely will be doing one night if I decide to partake in libations, which I don't really do a whole lot anymore. And that's why I'm like, all my clothes are too big for me now because I've lost so much weight. But Dylan, the Jackets are 6 points out of a playoff spot. They are done. They're not getting in. If they lose this game, they're mathematically eliminated. But even then, I don't see any way that they're going to get in, because they'd have to leap for. I mean, Detroit's already eliminated. They're in the Atlantic, though. The Islanders are not eliminated yet, even though Carolina basically took care of that possibility when they played them last time. So. Oh, and another thing, Scott, one day I'm going to try to get a venue and actually have a fan meetup if there's enough interest, so we can all get together, like maybe watch a road game together, or do something before going to Lenovo for a game. I don't know how many playoff games I'm going to make it up to. I'm going to try to make it up to at least 2. But as much as I'm working now, I'll be lucky to make 1. So, and I'm playing a lot too now. So like I've had 4 there's been 2 weeks out of the last 3 that I've had 4 skates in 7 days. And I was kind of worried about doing that because I'm still worried about the knee. The knee's holding up really well. Eventually I'm going to get a brace for it. I'm not ready to admit that I'm in my 30s and get a brace for anything, even though I should probably be wearing the one for my wrist, because I broke my wrist a long time ago. And apparently there's a bunch of little bones in the wrist, like very small ones. And I broke a couple of them and I didn't know it. But my wrist kept popping and it kept feeling weak on me. Like, I'd try to do push-ups. This is a long time ago. I was still on active duty then. I'd try to do push-ups and stuff, and I couldn't do it, and I couldn't figure out why my wrist kept giving out on me. And they x-rayed it, and they were like, dude, part of it's some of the little bones in there. And he's like pointing out the little bones to me and everything. And this doctor, he was cool, but man, I was worried he was an absolute quack. He looked like Hugo Strange from Batman. And he that might be a common thing with doctors, though, because the one who did my septoplasty, when I saw him walk in, I'm like, this dude's going to do experiments on me. I might as well get abducted by aliens and hope that they fix my nose. But but yeah, it's like there's a bunch of little bones in the wrist, and you can't really do anything surgically about them a lot of the time. So he gave me a brace to wear. I wore that for about 3 or 4 months, and it cleared up. And I found it the other day, so I need to start wearing that again. But I'm skating as much as I can right now because I didn't play for a couple of years, and I really missed it, and I've been enjoying it. And I've been playing pretty well. I still can't put a puck in the net, but I mean, I've never been the guy that you go to for that anyway. if I'm your last option in a shootout, I'm gonna pretend that I'm injured and let somebody else take my shot. Like, or I will actually injure myself. I'll take the stick and I'll just slam the shit out of my foot or something. I'm like, oh, I guess I can't do it now. I'm hurt. Let me limp off. Dylan says Nashville beat Minnesota. And Scott says, it's always our go-to spot before the game. But yeah, I was with my girlfriend. I looked at her and I was like, he's a YouTuber I follow about the Canes. She thought it was funny. Oh, that's cool. But yeah, no, feel free. Just come up to me and say hi and everything. If you don't look like you're going to punch me or something like that, I won't be hostile. But I know there's people out there who probably want to. The funny thing about it is one of the guys who actually said he was going to meet up at a game and fight me, I saw him. And he's like 5'7" and he looks like emaciated. So I don't think he would win that one. I don't understand why people get that up about things personally. Like, I don't get it. But yeah, he wasn't going to win that one, I don't think. Because I'm only 5'11", but like I'm built like a refrigerator, and I put some muscle back on too. But I got a long way to go yet. I want to put on another. Let's see. It is April, so I want to try to add another 10 pounds of muscle or so before the end of the year. And I'm working in a warehouse now, so between that and lifting, that's not going to be a problem. And the last little bit of body fat is going to be really hard to get rid of. Flyers are winning, I believe they're currently in. They should be third in the Metro. Yeah, the Flyers are third in the Metro. I want them to get in. I really do. Because I want to see a first round between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. That'll be cool to see. Scott says, nah, never that. I just want to say, hey, yeah, that's totally fine. Nah, man. Most of the people who come up to me and talk to me, they're really cool and everything like that. I haven't had anybody come up to me and do anything hostile yet. Like I said, there was that one guy who said he was going to find me and rip my beard hairs out one by one. I saw him and I'm like, buddy, I don't think that that's the healthiest decision you could make. There was one time I called Stormy Bacon to his face. That at the last game I was at when they were playing Montreal, actually. Stormy came up there and he's like talking to AB and me, or he's interacting with AB, I should say. Stormy doesn't talk. And Stormy starts to walk away, and I had, thanks for stopping by, Bacon. And he looked at me very begrudgingly at that point. I still like calling him that, though. It's fun to call him Bacon because that's what he is. And we still don't know where Caroline is, and he was the last one to see her alive. I have questions about that. And see, one other thing to remember about Montreal's defense, that, yeah, you've got the dynamic guy with Hudson and everything like that who can really move the puck. But, like, as far as, like, them punishing you in their defensive zone, Matheson and Jack High in particular can do that. They can cause you some problems just because they'll wear you out with hitting you and everything like that. If you cycle the puck well enough, it doesn't matter as much. But that team is absolutely capable of that. But, yeah, the Jackets are not out just yet. Basically, at this point, the wild card spots, both of them are going to be Atlantic Division teams. It's either going to be Ottawa or Boston that Carolina plays in the first round, depending on how the rest of the standings shake out. The Islanders are not totally out of it yet. They're only 1 point out. Washington is also only 1 point out, and they both have 80 games played, 91 points. The Jackets, should they win tonight, will have 80 games played and 92 points. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. But I've never liked the playoff format since the realignment. I miss 1 versus 8. I thought 1 versus 8 was superior. I don't mind only having 2 divisions in each conference, but they need to do something different as far as the seeding goes. Like, one thing I thought would be really cool, have the division winners make up the first 2 seeds automatically, kind of like how they did back in the day where the top 3 seeds were automatically the division winners. And then everybody else underneath that makes up the rest of the standings. I think it should be like that. I really do. Yeah, I think the Caps beat the Penguins today, too. Actually, we'll do this real quick. We'll look around the league and see what all the scores were, because most of the games relevant to Carolina are done for the day. Panthers, Maple Leafs, nobody cares. Both of them are out. Blue Jackets, Canadians 3-1. That's currently what we're watching. The Flyers are up 3-1 on the Jets. Flames and Kraken are 1-1. No relevance there. Avalanche and Knights are 0-0. They just started. They're 6 minutes in. That one's irrelevant. Canucks and Sharks, that couldn't be any more irrelevant. Lightning beat the Bruins 2-1. Senators beat the Islanders 3-0. That's bad for them. Capitals beat the Penguins 6-3, keeping their playoff hopes alive. They're not going to do anything once they get there. It's the Capitals. Devils beat the Red Wings 5-3, which that nixed Detroit from being in the playoffs because they're in the Atlantic Division. In that division, all the points there have been distributed. It's stacked. Blues beat the Blackhawks 5-3, again irrelevant. Preds beat the Wild 2-1. We knew about that one. And let's see how that looks for the standings out west. The Preds are still alive. The Kings have a game in hand, but that's just so weird seeing Utah with the only secured playoff spot in the Pacific Division. And then the other three spots that are secured in the Western Conference are all in the Central Division. Colorado, who's already won the President's Trophy because nobody can mathematically catch them. Dallas has 80 games played with 108 points. Minnesota has 102 points in 80 games played. So that's pretty much set there. Dallas and Minnesota will play the first round. Edmonton, Vegas, Anaheim, 90, 89, 89. 80 games played for Edmonton, 79 played for Vegas, 79 played for Anaheim. Dylan says the Montreal-Tampa series might be the most watched first round this season. I think that's going to be a good series, too. I'm looking forward to that one. Luke Potato, what's up, buddy? Freddie playing well. Wonder who gets the playoffs. Right now, Freddie. I think Rod was always he's already going to favor the experience over anything else, but Kochekov might be a factor now. So that's the other thing to consider with that. But as it stands right now, I think Freddie gets the nod. But yeah, the Canes play on Monday. That's when Buffalo's next game is. So I'm going to be watching both of those closely. Let's see what's tomorrow. The Penguins and Capitals play at 3. I'm going to be sitting down and watching that one if I'm done with my schoolwork. That's going to be interesting to see that one. Habs and Islanders play at 6. Bruins and Jackets play at 6. I'm not really worried about that one. Because if Carolina plays Boston in the first round, I think that they'll be fine. They'll take them in 5 games, maybe 6. They'll beat Ottawa in 6 as well, if you ask me. The problem with it is that's going to be a difficult 6 games. It'd probably be 6 versus Boston. It just wouldn't be as arduous. 6 games versus Ottawa is going to be a lot more difficult. The series may play out in a similar time frame, maybe about the same amount of overtimes, maybe about the same amount of minutes total played if you account for regulation and overtime. But I think that Ottawa is going to be a tougher out for Carolina than Boston, and it's not going to be close. That being said, Boston has Swayman. And when Swayman gets hot and he doesn't lose the puck in the color of the boards, which won't be a problem over here in North America where they're still white, then that won't be an issue. But Luke Potato says because Bussy has not been bad either. Yeah, no, he's not been bad. I know he's regressed a little bit, as some would say, but he was never going to maintain like what he was doing when he first came to Carolina. Like no goalie maintains an insanity run like that. It was never realistic to believe so. And for $2 million or less than $2 million, a hair under $2 million for his cap hit, it was a good deal for Carolina to make, considering they have been pretty thin there and at the center position of guys that were not bottom 6 centers. So damn, could Marchenko have shot that puck any more wide? Jeez. Wizard says Boston in 5 games, in my opinion, they are stumbling in the playoffs. Yeah, I think 5 or 6. 6 at the most. If the Islanders in 2023 could take the Hurricanes to 6, then, the current iteration of Boston couldn't. Blue Jackets scored again. Jackets are not going to go quietly. It's so funny that, like, let's see. Ethan says the team that concerns me the most is Montreal. That makes two of us, my friend. Not only do they have elite top end skill, that barn will be hell for away games. They will rival Lenovo playoff energy. Saint-Tropez is a very difficult place to play. Very difficult place to play. If what I think would have to happen to just keep that series from getting overly interesting, if Carolina could win the first two at home and split on the road, I would take a very deep breath at that point. I'm not saying it would be over, but I would be a lot less worried at that point. Montreal's ability to move the puck on transition, enter with numbers, and they do it very quickly. Carolina style, it's very effective in countering Carolina style of play. Me and Matthew talked about it extensively one day on here, and I'm sure a lot of you in here watching saw it. The thing about that is Carolina can counter that with a couple of pretty small adjustments. Those being, instead of having such an aggressive forecheck, maybe you back off and let them have the defensive zone when they're transitioning out, and then you try and shut down those plays in the neutral zone, particularly between Carolina's offensive blue line and center ice. That's your best chance to shut those plays down, is have your F1 go ahead and do the aggressive forechecking. F2 and F3 and your two defensemen, have them really suffocate there in the neutral zone, particularly on the offensive side of center ice. And a lot of that stuff will not be a factor. So, but Montreal can also score at will. So the less offensive zone faceoffs you have, or less defensive zone faceoffs that Carolina has, the better. There's a lot of stuff that they can do there. Luke says Canes can easily make it out of the East if they stay hot. I agree. I wouldn't say easily. I think that whatever first round they have waiting on them is going to be the most difficult first round they've had since Nashville in 2021. And that team would just not go away. They kept dragging Carolina by their heels and they just would not die. I can see Ottawa doing similar things. And, one thing that's, kind of backwards this season is Ottawa's defense is really good. Shabbat, Zoop, like you name a player on Carolina, Ottawa has a comparable of some sort. You talk about Slavin for Carolina. Well, they have Zoop. You talk about Gossespierre for Carolina. They have Shabbat. Sanderson is one of the best two-way defensemen, even though he leads towards the defensive side. Sanderson's one of the best two-way defensemen in the league. So, you could say Miller or Walker, then they have Sanderson. So it's going to be a more difficult series, and I think people are really acknowledging, and I think their top six forwards, the ones that they charge to score the most, are better. That being said, Carolina now has, let's see, how many players with 20 goals or more, that's a good thing. 7 players with 20-plus goals, and Taylor Hall is right on their heels with 18. So as far as scoring by committee, my money is more on Carolina, if that's what it comes down to. Goaltending, my money, regardless of who they go with, is on Carolina. So they've got advantages in more locations than not, or in more categories than not. So but yeah, I think Boston is 5, maybe 6. Ottawa 6 at a minimum. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. That being said, I'd rather see them play Ottawa just because I want to see something different. And I think this is going to sound kind of weird, but having a kind of difficult first round, I think would be good for the team. I think that would lock them in a little bit harder because they've I don't want to call it a cakewalk, but the first 2 rounds have been relatively easy for Carolina in the past couple of seasons. Washington in 5, Devils in 5. Then the year before that, Islanders in 5, and they barely won the game that they won. They won game 4 by a hair in 23-24. And, they kind of beat themselves a little bit in the Rangers series that they got eliminated in 23-24. Then you look back at 22-23, they beat the Islanders in 6, and they beat the Devils in 5. And that was the year I thought they were going to win the cup. I really did. And then there was the irregularities of the modified bubble the year before that, where Nashville just – part of the reason why Carolina got embarrassed so badly by Tampa that year is because Nashville wore them out. They took a chunk out of them. So whatever team that they play against in the first round is going to take a bite out of them, except maybe Boston. But I do kind of see the benefit of them having a tougher first round matchup just to kind of lock them in and keep them there. So, but yeah, absolutely. Boston is an incredibly undisciplined team. I believe that they lead the league in penalty minutes. Werenski just shoulders Slavkovsky off of him like it was nothing. I love to see that because I can't stand Yarod Slavkovsky. I don't know why. I just don't like him. I mean, the fact that he's one of those people's favorite players, and you know who I'm talking about, the book people. That's part of it too, and I just think he's kind of an overrated player, to be honest. He's a good player, but he's not the next Jaromir Jagr, as people have said, if you ask me. Ethan says, I'm praying that the Atlantic Division tears itself apart by the time a team reaches the ECF. I think the fan base has gotten too comfortable with who we see each year. No more Devils or Isles. I have confidence in the group. I'm just preparing for some really different matchups. Yeah, no, this playoff is going to be this postseason as a whole is going to be very different than what we've experienced recently. It's going to be very different. I think that's what's going to be good for them, though. I really do. And even if they don't win this year, which I'm not expecting them to, but I've never expected them to win the cup this year. When the roster turnover happened last offseason, after the 23-24 season ended, I expected Carolina to take a step back, and ultimately they did not. They made the most of their offseason acquisitions then, and then they got even better over the last offseason. So all those things considered, I think that they definitely made some improvements there. I just think that this is going to be a little bit more difficult than in the past. And like I said, that might be a good thing. I really think it might be, because it's almost the dichotomy of playing against the New Jersey Devils with no Jack Hughes, and then the Washington Capitals, who are historically one of the most fraudulent playoff teams of all time. The dichotomy of those two teams versus immediately going from that to playing against Florida, fully healthy, ended up being back-to-back Stanley Cup champions in 3 Stanley Cup Finals appearances, Florida. That's a pretty big gap between Florida and Washington and New Jersey. So it might be good for them. It really might be. Ethan Reed also says, kind of an open-ended question, but if he stays hot and maintains his growth, how do you build around Stankoven at 2C, preferably with Blake on his wing? You get a dedicated, and so here's what you can do there. And Katie and I were talking about this earlier when she was on here. There's the factor of Nadeau, but there's no real way to bring him up that I even see next season. There's that's where, if you are intent on keeping Stankoven at that position, well, you have 2 options. You can either build a third line, if you will, or a 2.5 line, whatever you want to call it, of Stankoven, Hall, and Robinson, for example. And then you build an entirely new other second line that's based around Blake and all them. But Blake and Stankoven have excellent chemistry. So I can understand the rationale of not wanting to break that lineup in its entirety. What I would like to see is a different left winger there, and that's not a slight on Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall is good enough to be there, but he makes the bottom 6 in Carolina a lot more lethal by being there. Roster being constructed the way it is, it's about the best configuration you're going to get. I would say you go get a really good, solid left wing. It doesn't matter if they're a right-handed shot or a left shot, but a really, really, really damn good left wing. I mean, like a blockbuster type of thing. If Carolina were to beat Ottawa and beat them badly, and if Brady Tkachuk, for example, became available, that's one guy I think that you look at to fill that role. A player like that, maybe not necessarily him, but someone to go on that line that has some size and one of the reasons I mentioned someone like Brady Tkachuk is because how good he is of a net front guy. Stankoven and Blake are going to generate a lot of chances. Stankoven has the speed, the forechecking, force turnovers. Blake has the really good puck pursuit, the ability to slow the game down when the puck's on his stick. Another thing with Stankoven is his off-puck routes are really good. So those guys are going to generate chances. So you want the missing piece of that puzzle to be a left-wing power forward type that would be best on that line. Stankoven has improved significantly at the center position since he started, but I am personally still not sold. And that's not Stankoven's fault. That's history's fault that I feel that way. Lubex, what's up, buddy? How do you think about the Penguins? I do not count out any team that has Sidney Crosby on it. I'm not a Crosby fan by any means. I actually hate him, but I would be absolutely disingenuous and stupid to not acknowledge that he is still really damn good. Then they've got someone they can build around in the future whenever Crosby hangs it up with Ben Kendall. So that is still a team that Carolina would probably need 6 games to beat. They are good. The defense, not so much. I don't worry about that so much. The goaltending, definitely not so much, even though Stuart Skinner has relatively good showings against the Hurricanes. That's one of those ones where I think that it would be almost similar to any other series with Carolina. The depth scoring, the goals by committee would have to be the big deciding factor for things to go in Carolina's favor. As far as the top 6 goes, that's something that as long as the Penguins have Crosby and Malkin and company, I'm going to submit that they have the advantage in that regard. But yeah, difficult series. None of these are going to be easy. None of them. Maybe the Boston one, if that's the way it goes down. But even then, I'm not sold on that being easy. This is going to be a difficult path for Carolina, a little bit more difficult than a lot of people acknowledge. Now, on top of that, Whitting, Bay, Blade, Antler. I've seen you on X before, bud. How do you think about Pittsburgh and Philly? The sport needs that. That will be good to have that matchup. That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun to watch. But I'm really looking forward to seeing that one. That series, I think Pittsburgh will win. That's one thing I do think that's how that would go down. That being, both those teams are well coached. Muse is a good coach. Tocchet, for all of his faults, if my buddy Derek Dunn were here, he'd be saying that this is heresy. Tocchet is a good coach, and under playoff circumstances, that's going to be on display a whole lot more. When he has the ability to play, and when he's playing against the same team over and over again for a 7-game series and make adjustments, Tocchet is one of those. Tocchet has a lot of the similar, and it's funny because they're friends. Tocchet and Brind'Amour have a lot of similar philosophies about playing in playing a regimented form of hockey, and that's not always a bad thing if you got the right guys on the team. Now, there's kind of outliers there, or perceived outliers, I should say, i.e. Matvei Michkov, who I think is a very good player. I don't understand why people think he's fat. He's not. The kid's just built. He's just a big kid. He's not tall, but he's big. I think that Pittsburgh will win that series in 6. 6 is going to be the magic number for a lot of series in the Eastern Conference. I really believe that. I think I don't see any of these series except for maybe Carolina and Boston as far as the theoretical matchups ending in less than 6 games. That's the only one that I see ending in 6 or less. All the other ones would probably take 6. I really genuinely believe that. But that would be a fun series. That would be a really fun series. There's going to be a lot of fun series in these playoffs. Montreal and Tampa is going to be a good 2 versus 3. Philly and Pittsburgh are going to be good 2 versus 3s. So, man, Montreal's players have been out there forever. Provorov jumped in there at a really good time. He generated a good shot there. And Columbus is just having their way with them in Montreal's zone right now. Now, see, this is what I'm talking about for those of you who are watching the same game I am. Watching Columbus and Montreal right now, that was kind of a very half of what you see out of Montreal, where they kind of have a hard time getting the puck back if a team is really good at cycling and working the puck around the perimeter and everything like that and generating a shot, which Carolina is much better at than they have been in years past. That is like kind of an example of how you would beat them with that type of sustained offensive zone pressure. But if you got to give up some of that to be able to shut them down in the neutral zone when they do get the puck back and they do generate transition, that's a pretty good example of it and everything like that. Montreal barely survived that shift, but they survived it, and they've got fresh legs out there, and they were having a really good shift right there. Dylan says, I like Crosby and way more than I like Ovi. I don't care for either one of them. I mean, I respect how good they are, but here's one thing that a lot of my friends that are Caps, I have more friends that are Caps fans than Canes fans because I lived in Virginia for so long. I will never concede that Ovechkin is the greatest player of all time just because he's the leading goal scorer, because I can't say that someone is the greatest player of all time if they've never killed a penalty. If they weren't an all situations player, I can't admit that. It's just, I just can't do that. Crosby, I respect his skill. When he was younger, he dived all the time. He's not really doing that so much now, but I never cared for him. And that was also a time when the Hurricanes were bad and they were just getting killed by everybody in the Metropolitan Division and the last days of the Southeast Division and the old, before the realignment. Then there's also the factor of, this is one thing I want to watch here is Montreal's power play. Stand by, everybody, in the comments. It's just their ability at cycling the puck and collapsing around the perimeter until they get a shot is just really damn good. See, that's the thing. Hudson doesn't stay on the perimeter. He's more of a rover. He just kind of slowly drifts in, reading the play and everything until he generates a shot. Like Montreal's having a very everything but score power play right now. And Sapkowski uses his frame to generate those entries. See, that's just amazing how quickly they generate chances. Absolutely amazing. And that is the end of that period. I will mute this now and go back over here. Dylan says playoffs should be difficult. Yes, they should. That's the whole point. I totally agree with that. Beyblade also says never won Ottawa because of long traveling, way worse than Boston, Isles, New Jersey, Washington, New York. I don't really worry about the traveling personally. I know it's annoying to get back. It's really annoying to get back through customs to come back into the United States. That being said, they only would have to do it twice. Games 3 and 4, and then go up there for game 6 and come back for game 7 if it got that far. So I don't really worry about that personally. Like I said, more than anything, I just want to see them play against somebody different. I want them to win, but at the same time, it's like been watching them play the same teams over and over again. It was really refreshing to watch them play Nashville. I mean, granted, that series had consequences that were ultimately paid in the round after, but I mean, that in Tampa was however much over the cap. Canes to the cup. I hope so, bud. I hope so. Ethan says, do you think Svets is truly back? Yes. Career year with a good distribution of points at 5 versus 5 on the power play. Yes. I'm very much, I never gave up on Svechnikov. There were times where he really pissed me off. Like the Florida game where he fumbled it to, instead of putting it in the empty net or just getting the puck deep, probably wins that game. I was kind of like Svechnikov to China. I never got it all the way out, but I was getting there. Svechnikov has shown an ability to elevate his game in the playoffs. So if he builds on what he's already done, and Katie and I were talking about this earlier, if he builds on what he's already done this season, Svechnikov is going to be an impact player in the playoffs. I really do genuinely believe that. Matthew says, just finished watching the game. Matthew, I'm going to send you a text real quick. Yeah, we're just showing that commercial and it had Schaefer in it. That dude's skating is incredible. I thought Erik Karlsson was a good skater, but he's like that times 10. God, he is good. All right, guys, I'm going to bring Matthew on here. Give me 2 seconds. But yeah, no, I'm very much I'm not concerned about Svechnikov at all. That line as a whole needs to do a little bit better 5-on-5, Aho, Jarvis, and Svechnikov, but I think they'll get it sorted out. I mean, every good line goes through that, and Rod's taking his hands off of a lot of stuff. He's not just automatically throwing things in the blender if they're not going well, and I think that gives guys a chance to work through whatever issues they're having. So I don't have a ton of concerns about this team other than the fact I wish they had at least one more top 6 forward. Dude, Bobby McMahon would have moved the needle for this team a bunch. I know that the asking price on everything was kind of high this year, but Bobby McMahon alone, just so you could bump Svechnikov down to be with Stankhoven and Hall or something like that, might have made a difference. But Blake's also pretty good where he's like, there were a bunch of different options that you had there. If you even if you acquired someone like Bobby McMahon, like you really like, he could have played with Stalin Martinuk even, but Ehlers is killing it there right now. There's no point in changing anything right now with this team. The defensive pairs, I wish that there was a better way to align them than what there is, but it has been pretty apparent that they're kind of in the best format that you're going to get them in. My friend, how are you?
I'm doing well. Sorry, I couldn't watch the game live. Had a lot going on today, but yeah, just watch it. Nice, pretty good, pretty even game. Utah's showed by their playoff team.
Yeah,
but yeah, well, we said it right after coming back from the Olympic break that
Denver wins another NCAA title.
Who does?
Denver.
Oh, okay, yeah, good for them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's one thing I wish would get bigger, and I'm looking forward to the day
good.
that starts.
I didn't get a chance to watch any Frozen Four games since
I didn't either. College hockey's going to get big eventually. It's like eventually, like it's going to take a while, but UNC and NC State and all them are going to get NCAA teams eventually.
I'd love that.
I would too. That would be so good for the sport in the South. I mean, UNC's building a dedicated facility now because a certain other college gets priority with the Hurricanes organization. Even though people won't admit that.
And everyone else is jealous.
Yeah, it's like people are like, oh, the Hurricanes aren't biased towards NC State. I'm like,
of course they are. They play the same
What
building.
are you watching?
It's quite explicitly on purpose. Excuse me. I'm fighting a chest cold, so forgive me if I'm hacking up a lung.
Oh, no, you're good, bud.
But we said it right after the few games after the Olympic break, derisively and crestfallenly, that Freddie was going to get game one. But yeah, not so crestfallenly anymore. He's earned it. He's definitely earned game one, in my opinion.
I mean, he kind of already had the equity to get it anyway. I just think that it needed to be seen, and Kochekov might be in the mix too, but like. He's also not been playing most of the year. So, like, you don't really – if you make him number 2 and Bussy number 3, whatever order you want to put Kochekov and Bussy in, right now I think Freddie is the best option.
Yeah, which begs an interesting question. Hopefully we won't have to answer it for a bit, I hope. But what are we going to do next year? If Freddie comes in and he's fantastic in the playoffs.
You already know what the answer is if he plays well.
If he plays well.
If he plays well,
then we'll have 3 goalies under contract next year again.
Well,
are we going to do?
Are we going to do the same thing they did?
Bussy? Are we going to waive him? Or are we going to waive Kochekov? I mean, I don't know. Hey, you know what?
Kochekov, you can trade him.
Yeah, that's fair. Hopefully it's a good problem to have where, Freddie is lights out in the playoffs and,
it's just,
forces us to sign him to another year.
The thing with bringing
it'll be awkward, but fine.
The thing with bringing Freddie back, though, it's an asset management risk more than an on ice risk because of what you're saying with having 3 goalies and you potentially lose one of them for nothing, or you have to trade one of them, and the next thing you know, somebody gets hurt, and then you're back to the same problem you had 6 months ago. That's the issue. It's more of an asset management problem than anything if you were to go that route. That's
I'll say
that's
for the first time this year.
Keep talking. I'm getting something to drink.
That's all right. Yeah. It's relevant to something that Brandon said a long time ago, many months ago, actually, around November, late November, when it was again kind of sadly saying it that our best goalie was a waiver claim. Well,
yeah.
Guess what? That's not the case anymore.
No.
Again, that's never right now. It's no longer a waiver claim.
He was never going to maintain that either. And I told people that. I was like, look, I'm excited about what he's doing, but he is not going to keep doing what he's doing because no goalie continues to do constantly what he is doing.
True. And I want him to get back to at least, not giving up any of the softies. Because even against Boston, I think 2 of the 5 he could have done a better job on. Some of them, like I think a good 3 of them he had no shot with, but 2 of them, early January, Bussy was making those saves. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's Freddie again, and like it. The one consolation I have is like I'd say it's whether it's Boston or Ottawa, probably Ottawa, but whether it's Boston or Ottawa, I mean, Swayman has been a little shaky lately too. We shelled him in the last game, so I'm not.
He's a good enough goalie to flip the switch, though.
He can, he certainly can, but so is Freddie. I mean, Freddie is good enough to I'd say they're probably pretty even. I'd say that in that case, if it's Freddie versus Swayman, if it's but against Ottawa's goaltending. I think.
I'm taking Carolina's 10 times out of 10 with that.
And like I said, I'm not. Maybe this is just my reflexive sports fan, paranoid self because, any team in the playoffs is good enough to win,
right?
And especially in round 1, except maybe if Colorado loses in round 1 to who are they going to play? I don't know, Anaheim. Like if they lose that, then they shouldn't lose that. Absolutely not. I would pick Colorado to sweep the first round, really, no matter who they play. But everyone else, I'd say our chances against Ottawa, I think 75%.
As it stands right now, Colorado would be playing the Kings.
Oh, LA's not good. LA is not good. LA is not good.
Unless Kopitar really turns back the clock because he wants to go out on a good note.
I mean, and I haven't watched him a lot, but how's Panarin been doing over there?
I haven't watched him a lot either. I barely watched any hockey at all just because I've been busy working and everything. But, one other thing about Bussy, though, he was a good investment either way just because you were kind of thin at that position. Here's one of the big upsides of it where it could pay dividends. Bussy has the offseason to work on the things he needs to work on, and he's not just having to pick stuff up on the fly. So primarily the puck handling. The first thing he needs to learn there is when to and when not to handle the puck. Keep Kochekov away from him during that time. Do not let them talk.
He's already if you watched him last night, he was already doing Piotr things.
Yeah, if you
letting in the first shot, doing crazy poke checks.
If you catch them talking on WhatsApp or Signal, you bop them both on the head and be like, "No, knock that off." Nope. Don't do that. The second thing there is he's just kind of got to refine. If you look at goalies in terms of numbers, high danger, medium danger, and low danger, he's just got to refine himself in those 3 categories, and then he's still a good investment at that point. If Carolina had a very definitive number one goalie other than Freddie, then I would say Bussy is a definitive backup, a definitive 1B. They don't have that luxury right now because for all the time we've been waiting to really see what the Canes have with Pyotr Kochekov, I don't know about you, but I still don't know what he is.
Me neither. And regardless, Freddie has earned game 1 for sure. We're going to need more than him.
Yeah, he's not going to play every game. No way. He cannot
play every game in the playoffs. That is not going to happen. That is not going to work. And frankly, I think it should be a dedicated. He plays. Maybe we have another goalie play every 3rd game in the playoffs. Maybe more if absolutely necessary. If Freddie crumbles, obviously we hope that doesn't happen. But I think Freddie gets 1. If he wins it, he'll get game 2, and then no matter what happens, win or lose game 2, someone else plays game 3.
By the way, I've got Montreal and Columbus up if you want to watch that one.
Can you put it on here?
No, I'd get the stream to get taken down.
Okay, yeah, you're right. All right, so I haven't been. I guess I don't know what's going on there, but Columbus, are they eliminated? Or no, they can get the 3rd Metro spot.
In the
but
Metro
they can't get the wild card.
That's what's going to be interesting. That's what's going to be interesting about when Carolina plays on Monday, because I guarantee Philadelphia is going to be full force out there, and Carolina is going to be on a skeleton crew again.
Right.
Philadelphia cannot afford to rest guys,
and perhaps with the Islanders too, depending on what happens there.
Because they're not out. Washington's not out.
Hey, and they can only get the third Metro spot. I think it's technically possible for Detroit to claim a wild card. If
they lost today, they're out.
Oh, they lost. Okay, they're done.
Yeah, they're done.
They lost.
They have the big E next to their name. They are done.
Got it.
There is one thing I have to say about the way that they mark the standings. It seems like having an X next to your name would mean you're done.
No, that's X means you're in.
Yeah, which I'm kind of like that. That's always been weird to me, because I associate X with like, you're cooked. But
golly, Detroit, man, this is like the
Columbus
third season in a row where Columbus too, but still, like Columbus, I don't know if they were really expected to get in. Detroit was. Detroit's been expected to get in.
Well, Columbus is tied with Philly if this game ends the way it looks like it's going to end.
Oh, they're up 4-1.
Yeah, they're up 4-1 right now, and it's like when I sit here and I watch them doing that, I'm like, surely to God, Carolina can figure this out to beat Montreal should they have to play them.
I don't think Montreal can fall into the wild card, can they? I think they've got enough that.
Nope, they will not fall. The second or the 2-3 matchup in the Atlantic is pretty much set. That's going to be Montreal and Tampa, like that. And unless
whether whose home team is still
Buffalo would have to fall off a cliff. Oh, not fall off a cliff. There's not a whole lot of. Okay, so here's the standings right now as far as the Atlantic Division goes. Buffalo 80 games played, 106 points. Their next game is on Monday. I'll be watching that one as much as I'm watching the Hurricanes game. Yeah, so they're probably going to win that one. Montreal, 104 points, 79 games played, and they are trending towards losing this one right now, which would put them at 80 games played, 104 points. Tampa has 80 games played with 104 points. As far as regulation wins go, Buffalo has 41, Montreal has 33, Tampa has 40. So the 2 versus 3 matchup in the Atlantic is set. It's more of a question of who's going to have home ice.
Yeah.
As far as the Metro goes, though, it will be Pittsburgh and either Philadelphia, Washington, the Islanders, or the Jackets, of which the highest likeliness of that right now is Philadelphia. Washington has already played 80 games and they have 91 points. The Islanders have also played 80 games and have 91 points. So it's more than likely going to be Philly.
And what does Philly have? Philly has 94.
Philly has 92 points in 79 games played, and their next game is against Carolina.
Yeah.
See, the next game is against the Chicago Wolves with a cameo by certain members of the Carolina Hurricanes.
What I think might happen actually is, or at least what I might do if I was, running the organization, is I would send these 4 Wolves down, and I would call up another 4. I would call up Nystrom, Suzuki, Robidaw.
Let them get some reps.
Yeah.
Because they're all going to be black aces anyway. So
Felix Unger-Stormer, or maybe even Ryabkin. That'd be fun to give him a game.
Don't give me ideas.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I'm excited for that guy, but I have to temper myself and just remember that there's a long way to go with him.
There is. This isn't like his graduation. It would just be like, see what you can do out there.
Philly is currently
did Legault absolutely mog Simashev? He absolutely manhandled him in that fight. That was absolute just.
Simashev he just gave up. I didn't even know who he was fighting at first.
Yeah, and Simashev's a good player. I like him, but
Katie and I were on here, and Legault had his sweater all the way over his head, and he was just wrapping his arms around the back of his legs, surrendering. I couldn't even tell who he was fighting at first. It was over so quick.
He is strong. Golly, Legault is so strong. I mean, to do that, to see Simashev is not a small. He is a big boy.
Yeah, just because you're big doesn't mean you can fight. I mean, Stanko is the size of a Chihuahua, and he can fight.
True, but they're like, still, that's a lot of weight to keep down. To have him like under, like arm barred, like almost like a half Nelson. He had like half Nelsoned him, and giving him uppercuts. That was just, and he didn't even throw a punch. That was mogging, absolute mogging right there. That was great to see. Love that. And I think they'd swap out the Wolves. Maybe keep Nadeau, but I'm still not, it's kind of annoying because I'm still not entirely comfortable like that the Hurricanes are going to get the top seed, even though our magic number is now 1, because I think Buffalo, they got Chicago, and then who's their last game against? They play on. I think they play on Wednesday.
I'll tell you in 2 seconds. I've got it pulled up right here.
Yeah. So
Buffalo's last game is against Dallas, who will more than likely be resting players.
Resting.
And Buffalo
both
will be
might
at
be
home.
resting players. They both might be resting players, but yeah.
Oh, so that actually what Dylan just said there. One thing Katie and I talked about, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. I think Chatfield's job is up for grabs come training camp next year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And I hate
both
that.
Nystrom, both Legault and Nystrom are I think just as good, if not maybe a little better.
And Chatfield will get claimed on waivers.
Of course he would.
Good cap hit, like solid right-handed shutdown defenseman. He will get claimed.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's the thing. It's like there's no way Brindamore would do that, though. Like, there's no way Brindamore would. Well, I'd say that they're both pretty even. You know, each of them has something that the other doesn't, and not just beyond experience. You know, we saw what Legault can do. I think Legault is just absolute. He's a grown ass man. He's a grown ass man. He's way more physical. I think he's got the physicality more so than the other two. I actually think Chatfield probably is the best skater of the three. And then I'd say
I don't know,
Nystrom
man.
Nystrom's
a pretty damn good skater.
He's good. It's close, but I think Nystrom actually has the best defensive IQ. Of the three.
The positioning is much there.
The positioning,
getting shots through traffic and the playmaking is definitely something else that favors Nystrom.
Yeah. So it's really close. They're both excellent, right-handed defensemen. They're pretty. They're a little different. They play a little bit different games, but all three are really good. And we got Sean Walker, who's been playing really, really well.
Oh, that reminds me. I got to pull this one comment up here. Chatty, no, Walker, maybe. I think that Walker's job is much safer than Chatty's.
Walks has been playing extremely well.
Yeah, I was so terrified he was going to miss that empty net, though. I was so terrified. I was like, there's no goalie there. You don't have to hit him in the crest. I thought he was going to rip it off and hit the crossbar. I was waiting on it. I was like, don't you Patrick step on this.
Oh boy. All right. Yeah. So yeah, great game. Glad to see. Was Utah playing with their full complement? I think they were.
It looked like it.
Yeah, it looked like it. So.
I got there a little bit late. So funny thing happened. I was working. Last hour and a half I was there was brutal. I told Katie that I wanted to do the watch party at like 3:30, right? But I didn't realize the Canes were playing at 5. I thought it was at 7 for some reason. And I leave work a little bit late, and I get home, and I tell her, I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm not knowing if I'm feeling this or not. And she's like, well, whatever you decide you want to do, let me know. Then Stahl scored, and I was like, oh, Jordan Stahl has 20 goals.
Great. And I love it when
the United States is bombing a country in the Middle East. Britney Spears is having crash outs. What's next? Are we going to get a new Nickelback album? Like what year is it? Like
it's 2009, buddy. it's 2009.
It's like what is going on? Like I'm waiting on NASCAR to roll out Monte Carlos and Thunderbirds or something. Like everything's going. I mean, I'm not opposed to any of those things. I missed those days. Everything was better. So, I mean, are we getting new Star Wars prequels that are made by someone not from Disney?
Nothing new under the sun.
Oh, dude, it's like. Oh, speaking of that, playing a game that's actually got a long, difficult single player campaign has been very refreshing.
Yeah,
I have one of the things I enjoyed the most about Halo is how hard it is. It did
not hold. You play it on Legendary. It does not hold your hand. It is
no.
You're gonna die a lot. Especially.
Well, it's not even just that. It's just that you don't know where everything is. There's times where you get lost wandering around, finding where you're supposed to go. I'm like, this is refreshing.
It was like Dark Souls, before then. It's like F you, figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like no tutorials for you. But yeah, it's been real. I didn't even play it on Legendary. I'm going to play it on Legendary, but I'm going to wait until I'm in a better headspace in life before I do that to myself. But yeah, I'm playing 2 right now. And like with the updated graphics and everything, and playing with like the cutscenes in 2 with the updated graphics, they're like It's
They're
like
really
watching a movie in a movie theater, dude.
But I will
It's
say
really
this,
cool.
like for Combat Evolved, there's actually a couple of, I don't know if you use the classic graphics on that one. There's a couple of things, especially in Mission 6 with the flood reveal, that are better in classic graphics than they are in the remake.
I'm gonna play it all the way through with the classic graphics at some point. I would just flip over to them occasionally here and there just to see what they were like, and like it was a refreshing experience. I've enjoyed 2 so far. I'm on the first mission that you play as the Arbiter. That was where I stopped at on 2 for right now.
Yeah, two's really good. Like 1, 2, 3, and ODST are really, you don't need to play any of the 343 games.
Which one had the? How would you rank the multiplayers on them?
Oh, they were all good.
Okay.
You know, except I didn't do that much multiplayer, frankly, but and I just think that in general, Halos 4, 5, and 6 are just not worth it.
What a shot! Let me guess,
Caulfield.
Caulfield
51.
doing Caulfield thing.
51.
My God, that is unbelievable.
4-2.
He had no room. 1602 in the third. He had no room to put that puck in, and he still did it.
Watch Montreal come back. Montreal's gonna. Who's in net?
Dude, what the fuck? How?
Coin slot, huh? I'll check it. I'll see the highlights later, man.
How did he do that far side? What the? Are you kidding me?
Absurd. Like, and here's the thing. It's like I am so glad that everyone on Team USA is an American hero. Caulfield still should have been on that team.
If he's not on the World Cup of Hockey, they are making a huge mistake.
He still should have been on that team. And like, because he would have been a better option than like Keller, who's not bad. I like Keller. But
no, Keller's a good player, but he's no Cole Caulfield. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I have no idea how the hell that puck went. Like, Jet Greaves didn't even understand like how that happened.
It's Jet Greaves in that. Okay.
Yeah. That was an insane shot. Wow.
He's got one of the best shots in the league, if not the best shot in the league.
Right now, I think he's got the best one in the league.
As a pure shooter. Yeah.
See, Matthews, it's like he can change his game up and he can just bang a puck in. Caulfield's just a pure sniper, though.
He's the best.
Yeah.
He's the best in the league at it. Oof. Except for Nadeau. Nadeau will be better.
And Matheson is having a disagreement with somebody now.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I did like in the broadcast how they bring in some of the resting players onto the broadcast. That's kind of cool.
I want to take this opportunity to say I think that Jankowski is a really good broadcaster.
He's a great broadcaster.
I think he should start that.
He's got a great career there.
I think he should start that immediately. He shouldn't sit on that. I think tomorrow would be a good time for him to start. I'm probably going to be done doing the gimmicks though, because people think that I actually hate Mark Jankowski, and I don't. I don't hate him at all. The last player I hated and what traded got traded, like pretty much right after I said it.
Yeah, I mean, so we could do the nepotism route and let Jank walk. They're probably just going to re-sign him. Like, let's be honest, they're probably just going to re-sign him.
Oh, Katie and I talked about that. He's definitely coming back. I think that he's going to take a pay cut for some term because he's never had that. So I'm thinking like
he'll be re-signed as our 4C.
1.3 4-year type of deal. I mean, when it comes to
I would not give him a penny more than over $1 million.
He's going to get more than $1 million.
He should not. He should
not. Maybe, but
$1 million.
Like, I mean, he's the guy who's replacing Jordan Stahl, and he's kind of the only one you have to do that within the organization.
So, like, frankly, SBA, as nepotism as it is, would be just as good. He's better in the dot.
A little bit cheaper.
A little bit,
and he'll throw a hit.
A little bit more physical.
Yeah, he'll throw a hit.
He's still not a great skater. He's, in fact, maybe even Kotkaniemi might be even a little better skater than he is. But
I don't know about that, dude. KK is one of the worst skaters I've ever seen.
He's not good, but okay. So his skating is definitely not great. Jankowski's a better skater. Jankowski has decent hands. He just can't hit the broadside of a barn.
And when he does, 7 times a year, I hear about it.
And you heard about it a lot.
Well, the other night I fell asleep. Like, okay, so when they were playing Chicago the other night, I fell asleep right after Walker scored. The last thing I saw before I fell asleep was Sean Walker skating over to the bench to bump gloves with everybody. And I woke up and my notifications, oh, Brandon, come outside. I'm like, let me guess. Yeah, it's Brandon. And I'm like, what the? And I'm reading it in my mom's voice, Brandon. And I'm like, and I go through there, and I'm like, oh, let me guess, Jankowski. Okay, Jankowski scored twice. Please don't tell me he got a third one. Jesus Christ, I'm never going to hear the end of this.
Oh, man. What a mercy. Yeah, so, like, that was funny. And, boy, Chicago was just uninterested in that game. They were completely...
I wouldn't be interested in playing for that organization either. You have a generational player that you can't build around, apparently.
Watch them win the lottery.
Yeah, yeah.
Anywho, yeah, I think I gotta head out. But thanks for having me on. A pretty good game. Just need one more point, and then it won't really matter. I don't know if they'll get it though, because both Philadelphia, depending on the circuit, how things shake out, both Philadelphia and New York are going to be playing for their season.
Yeah, no, they're not resting anybody. They can't.
And we won't be. Yeah, and we won't be having. We won't be having a full complement. So I don't know if we'll get another point in the season. And
might not need one though. Buffalo just has to lose one game, and
they just have to lose 1 point. They just have to give up one point they don't gain, and we're the first seed. But
yeah,
they're basically give them Chicago, because that's going to happen, and then they get home against Dallas.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And Dallas is going to be resting players too.
True. So yeah, but thanks for having me on, Brandon. Appreciate
Columbus just scored again. All right, buddy. Thank you for showing up.
All right. Thanks. Take care.
What's he on about? Dovish is not happy about something. I didn't see all of that because I was looking over here talking to him. Ethan says if they extend him 77, must join the jersey collection. Well, you see, I already have one with 77 on it. You can probably guess who that is. I guess Dovish is trying to say that was goaltender interference. Let's take another look here. That's not goaltender interference, bud. That's a good goal. Yeah, 77's already in the collection. It just has a player that I like a whole lot more on there because I'm a defenseman nerd. And that one, for all of his defensive faults, was one of my favorites by far. If it were up to me, he would have still been in Carolina, but that's just me. Dylan says Slavin, Nikishin, Miller, Legault, Bedenko, Nystrom. Yeah, no, the defense is good for several years to come. I'm not worried about that at all. That's a good goal. I don't know what Dovish is upset about. That is... Yeah, nothing to discuss there. That's a good goal. Flyers beating the Jets, yep. Wait, are they waving it off? What? Because now it says 4-2 again. Okay, I'm confused. All right, let me turn the sound back on here. I want to hear what they're saying. Oh. Yeah, you can't push the goalie in, but let's see. That should have been a good goal. I'm sorry. No, that should have been a good goal. I don't agree with that one at all. Yeah, no, I don't agree with that one at all. No. That's one of the worst goalie interference calls I've seen in about a week. Good puck protection there by Cole Sillinger. And some more extracurriculars here. Everybody's just giving everyone a hug. Someone on X wrote, and I quote, "Guys, when do we have the conversation about Sebastian Aho? If this person didn't have me blocked, I would eviscerate them." Literally, at the moment, the third best player in franchise history. Will probably be the best player in franchise history. There is no conversation to be had other than when he takes that discussion. I can't believe. If I'm ever president, I'm going to deport all of them. I will deport every one of them. And this person is apparently a Teuvo Teravainen fan who pissed me off on so many occasions where he could have shot the puck and didn't do it. Oh, yep. Okay. I just looked at the profile. That adds up. Dylan says Blaney is on the pole tomorrow and had the best lap averages in practice. Yeah, I haven't been able to really watch any NASCAR this year just because I've been really busy with stuff. It's Bristol tomorrow. I wanted to go to Darlington a couple of weeks ago because I only live an hour away from it and I just couldn't swing it. Suzuki almost made that work. And the Jackets clear it. Dylan says because he took 2 penalties. I don't know, man. I don't know what that person's on about. I really don't. Matthew says, well, the best player in franchise history is Jacob Slavin. Yeah, I mean, if there was a greater appreciation for defense, you could have him in that conversation, but unfortunately there's not. His number's going in the rafters either way. But, 20 will certainly hang in the rafters, and as will 74, yes. Ethan Reed says, are you a UFC guy? Not really. I do watch some boxing pretty often. Not super often, but like I'll watch the big fights and everything. That's something I enjoy. Yeah, that's one sport I'm kind of casual about. So my sports that I'm really, really hardcore about: hockey, obviously, baseball, various forms of racing, primarily NASCAR, IndyCar. I've really gotten into V8 supercars. I like rally racing. So like I watch a lot like a Trans Am and GT3 and stuff like that. I really enjoy IMSA. So like I like a lot of different types of motorsports. Not really big into bike race. I think F1 is just garbage. It's the most overrated racing in history. Like when people, I know I go on this rant all the time, but if you watch old school F1 racing, that's good stuff. NASCAR is not as good as it once was. It's getting a little bit better now that they went up to the 750 horsepower engine packages in the cars. It's a lot better. I think maybe taking the rear diffuser off the car on the short tracks might help it a little bit, but I want to see how Bristol is tomorrow if I get the chance to sit down and watch it. I probably won't get to, though. But yeah, I like all that stuff. If you've ever watched Baja Trucks, that's good stuff. That's fun. That's fun racing to watch. Let's see. Late models, that's good racing. Sprint cars, that's good stuff. Wing sprints in particular, I really enjoy that. Legends and midgets are also really, really fun stuff to watch. But like that, all that stuff is kind of casual to me. But like as far as like hardcore like racing that I watch, mostly NASCAR, IndyCar, and IMSA, I enjoy all three of those. Even though like NASCAR's kind of turned into IMSA because that's basically what that car is. It's an IMSA car. It really is, like composite body, everything. But and then I like football too, but that's like kind of in between like me really caring about it and being kind of a casual about it. It's like I basically only watch the Panthers and UNC, and once hockey's on, I don't pay nearly as much attention to it as until the playoffs if the Panthers are there, which, you know, they did good this season, if you ask me. Something to build on there. Let's see. Matthew says, never been the biggest fan of watching people turn left because you don't understand it. There's a lot more to it than just turning left. One day I'm going to have you play. I won't even make you play iRacing because I play that sometimes. I'll make you play NASCAR 25 or something like that. And you'll find out turning left is a lot more a lot more complicated than it looks. But I've always enjoyed that. Like that's one of those many of my interests I got from my dad, and that's one of my favorite things. So, but let's see. Ethan Reed says, I feel like the F1 community is just full of too many snobs to support the people jump on to feel like they have a niche. Yeah, that's part of it. That's one of the things with it. It's like, so I remember the last time I sat down and really watched and enjoyed an F1 race was like 2017. And it just became very, like you put it, it's very snobby and Euro trashy, which, oh, Columbus scored again. That was a beautiful pass. It became very like uppity Euro snobbery. I mean, it's always kind of been like that. I mean, it's an FIA regulated series. Of course it's going to be like that. But ever since that damn TV show came out, it's got a very similar following that certain books and certain TV shows created in hockey. Which how you get into it is fine. But like, there's people I know that don't ever watch a race. They just watch the TV show and they try and tell me about racing. And I'm like, bud, I was watching racing before I was watching hockey. That's how long I've been watching racing. And most of my first video games were racing games. And I play a simulator in my free time. I haven't done it lately because iRacing is expensive and I want to wait until I have like disposable income before I start playing that again. But NASCAR 25 has been fun. I haven't played that lately either because I picked up Halo, the Master Chief Collection, and that's been my favorite thing to play when I have time to do some gaming. But yeah, it's just, it's on a bubble right now. F1 is, and when that bubble bursts, they're lucky they have such a big international reach. But there's a lot of people who watch that and they have no idea that they're watching some of the worst racing ever. Like the commentators on it, they shout up and down and try and make green flag pit stop sound exciting. It's basically, for years it was dive bomb turn one, and whoever is leading, as long as they don't mess up, will win the race, which was normally Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen. But there's a lot of times where I mention, you know, someone like, unless they've seen the movie Drive, so I won't even, or not Drive, Rush is what I'm thinking of. I think it's what it's called. So, you know, it's like, they'll know who Niki Lauda is because of that movie. But if I mention Michael Schumacher or Ayrton Senna. They don't know who that is. They don't even know who Kimi Räikkönen is. So I'm just kind of like, they're going to try and tell me about that. I'm like, no, bud. No, that's not going to work. Luke Potato says the Canes can win a cup if one of their goalies gets hot and if the offense stays hot. I agree. Absolutely. Matthew says, you're right. I don't know the intricacies. It's just never been my thing, but I could be convinced otherwise. Okay, so I'll go off on a little bit of a tangent here. Here's one of the worst things that racing in general, but especially NASCAR, has done. One of the things that they used to do back in the day is they had a cutaway car, right? And like during cautions and during like when they were coming back from commercials and stuff, they would show stuff on the cutaway car and explain it to the viewing audience about this is how this works. This is what wedge does. This is what track bar does. This is what happens when you have an additional half a pound of pressure in your right front tire, whatever. They used to talk about all those things. They used to even do like the really basic stuff like, hey, the fuel port on this car on the road course is on the right side of the car instead of the left because the cars pull into pit road and they park on the right side as opposed to the left while they're getting their pit stops and everything. But F1 created a generation of people who felt like they should spell tires with the letter Y. I mean, I don't know who would name their kid and replace a perfectly good vowel with a Y. I don't know who would do that. But they would explain stuff like that. And then it was like, you knew about like the intricacies of the car and like, not to the level that like the crew chiefs and stuff did, but you had a better understanding of it. And then they turned it into a fully entertainment value, no intellectual property type of broadcasting. NBC, it's not so bad because they show the graphics and everything of the cars and explain some stuff that way. But you have a bunch of people watching that have no idea what downforce is. They have no idea what affects the handling of a car. They don't even understand the concept of why you would take 2 tires instead of 4 in some cases, like stuff like that. In hockey, it's kind of the same thing. But you'll occasionally hear like someone talk about, hey, this player started using a different curve on their stick, or, you know, if they really wanted to get into it, they'd start talking about like blade profiling and what sharpening guys use and, you know, stuff like that. Or, you know, you hear about stick length a lot on broadcasts and everything like that. You have all that type of stuff. So the thing about it is for racing to be intuitive, with hockey, you don't need it so much, but for racing to be intuitive, you have to talk about the cars. Whereas with hockey, you can just talk about what the players do and what equipment they're using is not really that big of a deal. But the car is the player in racing. The car is as much the player as the driver is. In hockey, you can just sit there and talk about Cole Caulfield is really good at shooting a puck. You don't have to go into the specifics of what stick that he's using to make it interesting. You just have to talk about what makes him good at shooting a puck. When it comes to talking about what a driver does well, they all do the same things pretty well. There's just certain ones that do certain things better than others and perform better at a short track versus a super speedway or better at a road course versus an intermediate. But they don't even talk about differences and stuff like that anymore, really. So that's where I think that the broadcasting fell off when it came to racing. Formula One, that had a really hard fall off. And then people just watch it mindlessly with no idea what actually goes on with that car. I have seen people make posts like, how do the F1 cars go from the beginning of the race to the end of the race without needing gas? And apparently they didn't know about the situation that led to them not fueling the car during the race. It was a really bad fire. But they don't really talk about stuff like that. Whereas with hockey, it's like I can sit there and say, this is why Cole Caulfield is good at shooting a puck. It's because of how he positions his hand on the stick, rolling his wrist, you know, leading with the top hand, all that type of stuff. But then I could go further into the specifics and say, well, he uses a little bit shorter of a stick so he can torque it down and get some more power on it. This is the curve that he uses. He likes a 5-line instead of a 6. And I don't know if any of those things are the case. That's just to give an example of what type of things that you would say to keep something like that interesting. So baseball, you don't really have much to talk about there. Glove, bat. You kind of have to make that about what the players are good at. Now, where you have a lot to discuss with baseball is with the pitchers. That's why I'm so fascinated by that part of baseball, because you can sit there and you can look at, say, someone like Spencer Strider. He used to have basically a 2-pitch set where before he tore his UCL, fastball, slider were the majority of his pitches. And I think that at one point in time, he had 14% of his thrown pitches were changeups. So you didn't see it very often, so nobody really could hit it. So they would talk about all the different things that they would do there, that he would do as far as that goes. He started integrating the curveball when he came back from the UCL injury because he couldn't really probably throw consistently with the velocity that he used to. So that's a fun thing for me to look at. And then when you talk about hitters, you can look at like where they tend to make the most contact at, where do they get base hits, extra base hits, and home runs from? Do they hit better against left-handed or right-handed hitters? Are they a switch hitter? Or do you have someone like Matt Olson who catches right but exclusively bats left? Or it catches left but exclusive, or he throws right but exclusively bats left, which is not a big thing. But there are some players who do it. He's one of the ones who does that. So you always have those things to talk about. You always have something to talk about with the players before you even remotely touch their gear. When it comes to racing, there's not much to talk about if you don't talk about the car. And that's one thing that broadcasting kind of across the board does not do as much as it used to. That's part of the reason why people cannot maintain interest in racing. It's not so much the, oh, he's making a left turn. What's he going to do next? Oh, he's making another left turn. It's more so that they don't talk about what makes each left turn a little bit more different than the last one. So that's kind of all that is. Because I could sit here and I could go on all day. Like I could see a player using a stick, right? And if it's the one that they say that it is, like for example, especially if you're sponsored by one of the big manufacturers like Bauer or CCM or whatever, you might be using a CCM jet speed stick, which is a hybrid kick point, which basically means it can flex in 2 different spots. But for marketing purposes, or just because the player maybe likes that graphic better, they may have a Tax or a Ripcord graphic. Or if you're a Bauer user, you might have a Vapor stick, but with a Nexus or Pulse graphic. All those types of things, are a factor. So, but I am glad when they talk about stuff like that on the broadcasts a little bit more, just talking about the equipment and everything. I mean, that's cool stuff to me. That's why I worked in that line of work. I worked at Pure Hockey, and then I work seasonally at the rink. And what I do there is I sell hockey gear to people. So I try to not overly talk their ears off about stuff, except for skates and helmets. I go really into detail with those. When it comes to a lot of other stuff, like gloves, I know a ton about gloves. There's still only one pair on the face of the earth that I will use, and that's the CCM HG97s, because they're a 4-roll glove and they are super light, and I love that. But I know a lot about gloves, and when people come in there to talk to me about gloves, I break down like, hey, here's a traditional fit, which is what I wear, and then you have a taper fit, which is like a Vapor glove, or you go to the anatomical type of fits, which almost fit like lacrosse gloves. Those are like your Bauer Supreme type gloves and everything like that. I try not to talk people's ears off about that. Basically, just try them on and see what you think fits best with, and just make sure that your fingers are not punching out of the front, so that you don't punch the front out of the gloves, out of the front of the fingers of the gloves. So I've done some gear stuff on here. I want to do more. But yeah, but that's been the biggest problem with a lot of stuff, is they don't talk about it. And part of that's just a product of the time we live in, because it's as much about popularity as it is ability with a lot of things now, as opposed to like actually just being good at something. They also care about like how much noise someone can make on social media, whether it's for positive or negative reasons, and which is also annoying to me and everything like that. But it's like one thing they talk about with Jarvis is some of the exercises he's been doing that helped him build up some speed, like with the resistance bands and everything like that. That's cool stuff to talk about, especially if, you have young kids who play. That's a good thing for them to hear, because they're like, okay, well, this is what Seth Jarvis is doing to make himself faster. That's something that I can do to make myself faster. It's like if you have a kid who plays defense, sit him down and break down how Jacob Slavin does his gaps. That's a good thing to learn off of. Like I want them to talk about stuff like that. I can care less if a player, what they wore for Halloween. I just don't give a damn about any of that stuff. It's just, seeing stuff like that, it's cool, but I don't really care. That's just me, though. Maybe that makes me different. Maybe that makes me old school. I don't know. I'm going to get a water. That was a lot of talking. But no offense to anyone who enjoys Formula One. I just think it's very overrated and trash racing. Let's see. If indoor soccer, I have watched indoor soccer in person. I had a really good friend in the Navy. Him and I, like, we worked out together and stuff on the ship and everything like that. He played soccer. He actually played overseas at one point, but he would play indoor soccer, and me playing, hockey and everything. We would work out together and everything like that and chirp each other about which sport was easier or harder or whatever. If I had to play soccer, I had a chance to play indoor soccer and I didn't do it, and I wish I had, just for the cardio. Like, just that would have been something good for me to do. I wish I'd done it. One thing I have considered doing, even though I have no desire to actually compete in it, I thought about doing boxing lessons just to get like the conditioning from it. And if I ever did have to actually fight somebody, I would be a little bit more prepared for it, but I don't go out looking for trouble like that. But if it were to come find me, that would be that would be a useful skill set to have. And that's not something I've ruled out. I don't have any desire to actually get in the ring and fight. I just kind of want to, get the conditioning and the training from it. I might do that in the future, but that's expensive stuff. So that's something I got to do another day. Let's see. What other, that's about it as far as like all the sports I'm into and everything. And of course, those of you who've been following me for any amount of time know how much I'm interested in these things. And for those who don't know, this one right here in particular is a TF-16N. This is the Navy's version of the F-16. They don't use it in combat. They only use it for training. For what's known as aggressor squadrons, which are basically to mimic adversary aircraft. This one in particular is a TF-16N. The thing that makes this a TF-16N as opposed to a regular F-16N, they take the M61A1 20mm gun out of it to reduce the weight, save some fuel, make it more maneuverable, all that type of stuff. That's the 1-seat version. The 2-seat version, that's why it's called TF-16N, Training Fighter 16 Navy. This one has 2 seats in it, so that way Navy guys who have never flown this can learn how to fly it. And then, of course, F-14A. This one in particular is from VF2, which is now VFA2, which is now a Super Hornet squadron because, of course, the F-14s are extinct. But that's one of my favorite models there. And then I've got an F-18C from the now defunct VFA 303. That's just scratching the surface. I got so many model aircraft there, just a lot of them are packed up. I think I'll switch over to another game after this. I'm enjoying chilling here. See, even when they have the guys that aren't out there generating the entries, Montreal also has guys like Matheson that go up there and they'll like get it up ice and just make it simple and dump it in, but they don't do that up and down the lineup. Ooh, Jakai kind of blew that zone exit there. Oh, that didn't look good. Everyone's fine. But yeah, another thing, Matthew, if you're still watching, part of the reason I have my interest in fighter jets, that stemmed from my interest in race cars when I was really young. That's where I got the love of aviation from. That kind of one thing led to another. Okay, so an interesting thing here that was just shared in my group chat. There's a post from Ryan Hinkle. Now, we knew this part already. Carolina has 720 goal scorers on the roster this year, which is more than any other team in the league. This does not include Taylor Hall, as he currently has 18 goals. Hall, however, does have 21 points in 22 games since the Olympic break. So as far as scoring by committee, the Canes are in a pretty good spot. I'm just going to enjoy the ride, man. Just going to enjoy the ride. Good defensive play there. But not good enough. They still got a shot off. Yeah, after this game is over, I think I'm going to call it a night. I got a bunch of stuff I got to do tomorrow, and I would like to sit down and watch the race. And I want to watch. I think it's what was the game tomorrow that I really wanted to watch? Penguins and Capitals at 3. That was the one I really wanted to watch. Good save by Greaves. I think I'm going to go ahead and call it, guys. This has been a whole lot of fun, though. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to go relax for a little bit, hang out with my big dog, and maybe watch some TV or something like that. But it's been fun. I will talk to you guys again soon. I might do a little something tomorrow, depending on how much I get done. Y'all have a good night.